Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? All right. Let's see. So, as always, let's start with our gold chart. I had my interview today. I thought it went very well. 9 to 9:30, and I stuck to just answer the fucking question. Don't rumble and bumble and stumble on. And I even prepared myself. This was kind of a techie type of job, but accounting techie, where you have to do like SQL queries and stuff like that. So I hear this yesterday. Now, here's how a stoic handles this. I went and I go on YouTube and I go SQL, SQL query. And then I realized, and they show how to do a few, and I go, oh, this is easy. And it's a relational database, which I've done, but I do it on Essbase and Excel, not actually having to write the queries. And that's what that was the main focus that she wanted. And I said, well, I went on YouTube and I saw it and I realized, oh, I've done it before. Trying to rest assured, look, this is what you're looking for. This is what I'm bringing you. This is how you interview. This is how you interview if you're trying to date a girl or something. It's the same interview. What does she want to know? Are you going to support me? What are the things? Comfort, security, and stability are what women want, right? Do you have some money so I'll be comfortable? And the money is the security and then the stability. So that's what women want. It kind of gets tied into money because really that's safety and that's security. So that's why they're interested in how much money you have, what kind of car you drive dictates, or do you have a degree? Yeah, I got a master's. Oh, then you must make good money. You can take care of me. Daria's always said, well, you make me feel safe. So that's what she likes about me. I finally talked to Daria today. I'll get back to the interview in a minute. After a week, and all she says is good morning, my love. How are you? How did the interview go? And I'm like, where'd you disappear to this time? I says, you can tell me anything. Like if you're out, you got a boyfriend, you're just fucking around or whatever it is, it's okay. You can tell me versus the way I put it. If I was going to go to Vegas on Sunday and come home on Thursday, I would tell her. I would say, I'm leaving Sunday. I'll be in Vegas for the week and I'll be home. But certainly I can text you while I'm in Vegas. She's almost kind of like going to Vegas, spending the week, then comes home and then says, oh, I was in Vegas all week. You're like, why the fuck can't you tell me these things? So that's my wonderful Daria. Jenna's in Berlin. She wants to go to Prague. So it's like $60 for a bus, and then she'll give me a hotel, which I will pay for here. And I will pay for it here. In other words, I'll go on bookings, get the hotel, and just do it. I do it a lot when we meet. She has to take the airport in Warsaw, Poland, because there's no open airports in the Ukraine. So she has to do that. And then when she does it, Normally she's staying over. She's staying over at the airport hotel until the morning when the when the plane flies out. So I book it here, and I just say, well, this girl is going to be staying there. But it's okay, because you're getting paid by me anyway. So that's it. And we've never had a problem. So I'll do the same thing here. And I'm like, okay. Now back to the interview. So I was all prepared, which is critical, right? That's how you succeed. You prepare. You buy gold because you understand it, and that's the key to everything. So you understand the gold, and you prepare for it, and then you're ready for it. And the same thing here with the interview. So she comes on. We're doing the teams, sort of like what I'm doing with you, but only they're talking back, and it's not on YouTube. It's on Teams, which is Microsoft. And I'm looking for this. I'm looking. She never really asked about anything about my prior. She asked for what's the best thing you've done, and I said, well, I did this budget and actual thing at Mercedes. I did this phone thing at Mercedes, and then I did this auto T&E from paper to Oracle at Hiram Walker. And it was all brief though. This is what I did, and I gave her enough. And now, at the end, are there any questions? So I said, well, how do I be successful? And then I said, were you able to ask enough questions? Are you comfortable with, what was the term? It was a classic. Did I answer all your questions? So we've had this interview for a half hour. How the fuck can you possibly know me? And I said, did I answer everything? Is there anything else you want to ask me that you haven't? And I thought that was a beautiful anything, do you have any other questions? And it just worked out perfectly. Oh, we shall see. But I think it did. I think it did well. All right. Gold price. 24.29. Look at this motherfucker. So we're sitting at 24.75 on the way to 25. 10 o'clock happens. Oh, a coincidence. 10 o'clock, the price drop. Goes from 24.70 down to 24.20. Goes down $50. Then it starts going back up to 24.37 and back up to 24.29 where we're at. Silver 28.42. Now I'm listening to the Yankee Doodle Dandy guy, and Mark McGuire was on with some idiot. And the Yankee Doodle Dandy guy doesn't get it. They don't get it's all derivative pricing, paper pricing, not physical. Well, do you think gold's going up? And the Yankee Doodle guy said, well, it won't hit 100 in my lifetime. And I'm like, oh, it's going to hit 100 in like in 6 months, it'll be at 100. Because what they don't get, it's the derivative price, not the physical price. And I don't understand these people that run little silver, coin shops who don't understand. They're not prepared for it. Anyway, I know I'm jumping all over, but that's your gold and silver. Okay. The last thing about the interview, thought it did well, and I ended like I'd be very excited to work for you. This is a good fit for us. It's the same thing on a date, right? You can say the exact same thing. You try to get her. You try to answer questions that even she might not. That shows you're compatible. And then when you kiss her goodnight, saying, "I think we'd be a good fit. It's a good chemistry." Sort of like what I got with Daria and Jenna. It's a good chemistry. All right, back to this. So anyway, sorry I'm jumping around. I'm just excited. So, what we have then is a failure to communicate. Now, what we have here is people not even understanding in the business. Andy Scheckman, I showed you yesterday, doesn't understand it. The Yankee Doodle Dangle guy doesn't understand it, but they're not economists. The guy worked IT for IBM or something. I mean, they get into the business and they buy it and sell it at a profit. So they make, 10 cents and they buy and sell it. They don't know what they're doing. Oh, we'll never see $100 silver. Some guy even said $5,000 silver. And they don't understand the dollars going out. They don't quite understand what inflation is. And they don't understand the impact of the BRICS gold back currency. What do you think happens when the dollar goes out? Do you think silver's going to be $30 an ounce? Well, how are you going to measure it? There's no dollars to measure it in. And you're used to the fixed paper price of $50 high. Why haven't we go down? Because it's price fixed. They want the price lower because for the electric car batteries and the solar panel need silver. So they want to keep the price down so they can build it because they've got to have the environment so the planet doesn't blow up, whatever. And this is the problem. So you have a bunch of idiots who don't understand that it's manipulated by JP Morgan and the price is down because this is happening. So of course, that's why the silver price, as Mark McGuire explained today, doesn't have that Basel III compliant where you can take delivery. Now, a lot of people are going out. So what are we doing here? Are we using COMEX bullshit price physical, or are we doing it with China, Shanghai? So eventually it's going to China. Shanghai will be our price, will be our physical price. And again, what they don't understand is it's money. And that's why it's going to go up. Because on the Titanic, it's sinking. You got to get off. You got to get out of the dollar. This is the most basic principle that these morons do not get. This guest on Mark McGuire was terrible. You don't get it. This is zero. So why is silver $30? There's no correlation between this and gold and silver. Oh, so as this goes out, gold goes up. No, gold goes up no matter what. If you stopped it from being price fixed, as I said yesterday, gold will go where Rolex is because it's an asset. It's money and an asset. It has nothing to do with the dollar. Where they getting this is correlated to gold, I have no idea. It has nothing to do with the price of gold, other than it's priced in dollars, but so is a Rolex and so is a manual car. They're all priced in dollars, which shouldn't be. That's how corrupt the system is. But it's gold will be, probably $5,000 by the end of the, let's see what BRICS reprices it at. So the elements missing by these guys are BRICS, Russia, and China holding basically 80, 90,000 tons of it. The fact they need a higher gold price for the gold-backed currency, which they don't understand. Even the guy, Mark McGuire, today said, well, it might happen in 2 months, 5 months, or 10 years. And Mark didn't say anything. Mark, you've been saying October. Now you're shutting up. So in October, gold-backed currency comes in. Who's going to want the dollar that's basically worthless anyway? So people don't get that the dollar is worthless. It's hysterical. What are they doing? Right? Like, but this is your business. How do you not know the dollar is worthless? Anyway, so that's really the key to it. They printed it to zero. One guy says, "Oh no, they printed it, but there's demand for it." And one guy said, "Oh no, there's no petrodollar. There was no 50-year thing." How many times have we heard that Saudi didn't re-sign up, and then they'll take anybody's dollar? And the fact that it's the reserve currency or not doesn't mean you can print it to death because it's the reserve currency. It's still, that's why that's lost 99% of its value. It's the reserve currency. Does that fucking matter? Unbelievable. But the problem is these poor schmucks have no idea, haven't been taught it, and aren't smart enough to learn it. And that's the bottom line, Mr. Stone Cold. And that's where the problem is. We understand it. I've been taught it. I'm one of the few who got a master's in Austrian economics because a few years later, they don't teach it anymore. I think the school's gone Keynesian. And the guy on Mark McGuire today sounds like a Keynesian, doesn't know what he's talking about. And you just sit there and you just scratch your head. So, yeah, we know BRICS is coming out with a gold-backed currency. It's the only way they can survive because the yuan is gone. They fucked the yuan. The problem is these people think you can just print more money. Well, we're okay. We'll just print more money here with our $36 trillion debt and interest, and we can't balance the budget. But somehow they think the dollar is still strong and worth something because it's still the reserve currency and people are using it to trade in, and that has no bearing. You can't just keep printing it. So they just don't fucking get it. All right. Enough of that. Let's go to baseball. And where are we at? 8-1. 8-1, there was 4 games, right? Because that was it. There was only 5 on the schedule. We have Cleveland for two units, win. Kansas City was our lock, 7 units, win. The Cubbies under 8, 2 good guys. Shimoto or whatever his name gives up 4 or 5 runs. And we have this game. It's at 7 going into the bottom of the 9th. No, it's at 6 going into the bottom of the 9th. And I think the Cubbies win the game 5-4. So we got them 5-1 or something like that, or 4-2. It's like a 6, right? And we're under 8. And I'm kind of going through the box, and then I realized they scored 3 in the bottom of the 9th to win the fucking game and cost us the under. So, matter of fact, we win 6 units. We hit the 7 and the 2, and we lose the under 8 for 3 units. So another very good day. Another positive unit day in baseball. All right. Let's see today. I got a couple of good ones. I had a nice swim and a nice nice hot tub, and then a nice ride on the bike. And I got a little pizza from Jets. So it's only 4 pieces, and they're small. So it's okay. Oh, 24-35. We just hit it. We just hit a home run. There's units move at 4 o'clock. There's a 4 o'clock move, I guess. And silver's moving 28.51. I mean, it's so stupid because we know it's derivatives and we know it's not market. Like I say, Rolex goes to 60 grand, goes to 80 grand. You don't see it going up and down. So it's all price fixed. It's all totally illegal. But because the banks are the government, they don't arrest themselves. All right. So we had the Cards and Cubs start at 220, and the Cubbies are up 5-1. Didn't have any interest. All right. Now every other game is at night. So who we got a full schedule to walk through? We got Kansas City at Detroit. Detroit minus 120 and a 7. Cole Reagans for KC, 7-7 with a 3.37 against Tarek Skubal, 12-3 with a 2.35. So they're ace. Detroit's ace. Now, is it Detroit or under? Because KC can hit the ball. They got the best hitter. I think he's hitting like 350. So here's Cole Reagans, though. He gives up 4 runs, 3 runs. Oh, this guy was in the All-Star game. Holy shit. Can't believe it. 4 runs, 3 runs, 1, 2, 5. 1, 2. So 5, 3, and 4 his last 3 out of his last 5 games. Is he really a 3.37? The Tigers don't have any hitting since Ricky Green's out. I love when you drop a piece of pizza and you can't find it. I know I felt that I dropped it. All right, so Detroit has no offense, but they got their ace. 12-3, 2.35. Okay. KC, and I bet Detroit to win. Not without hitting. So I think we got to go under on this game. So let's go Detroit under 7. And we can play it for 3 units. So looking at this, Detroit wins 2-0, 3-1. Detroit won't score more than 2 runs, maybe 3. And it's up to KC with their lineup and how soon the manager pulls Skubal. But I would think Skubal would go his 6-7 innings. And we'll have a low-scoring game. Although we'll leave it to the bullpen. This is the problem with managers. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. So what are you playing? You're playing to win the game. No, he's playing to not, well, I got to take my pitcher out because I'm not playing to win the game. I'm playing that he only gets 6, that he doesn't hurt his arm. I'm playing so he doesn't hurt his arm, not to win the game. And this is the problem. This is the problem with the Lions, guys. The problem here. The Lions do not play to win the game. If they did, they wouldn't go for 4th downs against the Niners. Right, well, not playing to win the game. I don't know what that was, but it wasn't smart coaching. All right. Arizona and Pittsburgh. Brandon Pfaadt, 5-6 with the 3.92 for Arizona. Luis Ortiz, 5-2 with the 2.75 for Pitt. Probably a low-scoring game here. Arizona's a big favorite. So let's look at Luis Ortiz, 5-2 with the 2.75. What's going on here, fellas? So this is a reliever who I think started, 5 innings, 7, 5, 6. So we look at his last 4 games, shutout 1, shutout 3. So he's got a pretty low ERA is right. Give him 5, 6 innings. Arizona with Pfaadt with the 3.92. Let's see his last 4 or 5 games. 5 runs, shut out the Cubbies, shut out Atlanta, 1 run to San Diego, 1 run to, so he goes 4, 1, 1, 0, 0, and then 5. What do you get with this guy? But I think Pitt. So let's go under in this game. Pitt under 8.5. And we'll go 2 units. It's in Pittsburgh. Usually lower scoring games there, but It's the problem with baseball now is any game can be 2-0 or 10-2, and you just don't know what you're getting. That's what makes it difficult. All right, Milwaukee, Washington. They've both been hot lately. Milwaukee minus 129. Frankie Montes 4-8 with the 501. Jake the Snake Irvin 8-8 with the 344. We got to go over 9 here with Washington, the Redskins. We'll go 3 units. All right, Toronto and the Yankees. Yankees 160 minus 165 and 9. Kevin Gausman 9-8 with the 444. Marcus Stroman 7-5 364. This is an easy over. Go Yankees, beat Navy. 3 units. Baltimore and Cleveland, good game. 65-45 against 66-42 because Cleveland won yesterday. We had Cleveland. Dean Kremer 4-7 with the 420 against Carlos Carrasco, 3-9 with the 568. And this is another. Let's go Baltimore over and over 9, and we can go 3 units here. San Fran and Cincinnati. San Fran 54-56, Cincy 52-56. Who knew they were this good? 500 teams. Frisco minus 135 and 9. The game's in Cincinnati. Blake Snell 0-3 with the 510 against Andrew Abbott 9-7 with the 338. I can't go over with the Niners. They just don't hit. Cincinnati hits a little. The over under 9 seems really high, especially with the 510 pitcher and the 338 pitcher. So I'm going to pass on this game. But I do think it's an over, but they don't hit. So we're not going to get it. Miami and Atlanta. Atlanta minus 250, over under 9. Valente Bozo 0-1 with the 450 against Spencer Schwellenbach, 4-5 with the 406. There's no way Atlanta should be a 250 favorite here. I'm going to go over 9. 3 units. Why are they favored with Spencer Schwellenbach, 4-5 with the 406? The hell does that make you a 250 favorite? Jesus. Boston, Texas. Boston minus 110 and 9. Cutter Crawford 6-8 with the 360, and Jose Urena 3-5 with the 307. Games in Texas. Texas has not been hitting. Boston hit the Yankees, but are they going to hit Texas? Pretty good ERA. I'm going to leave this game alone too. I don't. Cutter Crawford's very inconsistent. This Urena could be good. You could have a low-scoring game, which is what I figure, but I'm going to not touch it. The White Sox against Minnesota, the Vikings. Minis minus 300, 8.5. Davis Martin 0-0 with the 338 White Sox. Joe Ryan 6-7, 362. I'm going to go under here. And I'm not sure if I'm making a mistake. I can't go Minnesota minus 300. And Ryan's okay. Chicago can't hit. All right. We'll go under. Tampa and Houston. Houston minus 155, 7.5. Shane Baz 0-1 with the 366 against Yushi Kikuchi, who got traded from Toronto, I guess. 4-9 with the 475. Why did Houston want this guy? 4-9 with the 475. So we're going to go over Houston, over 7.5. Jesus Christ. 5-star. How can this be 7.5? Shane Baz 0-1 with the 366 and Yushi Kikuchi 4-9 with the 475. Tampa's been hitting. Houston has been hitting for a while. I don't get it. See, that's a team that knows how to draft and knows how to teach their players. Houston. I mean, Altuve, where did he come from? Bregman. They lose Kurt. The shortstop to Minnesota, doesn't matter. They get another one. They lose an outfielder, doesn't matter. They get another one. It's just incredible. All right, the Jets, Jets against California. The Mets are minus 145 and 9. Paul Blackburn for the Mets. He's on. Oh, he must have traded with Oakland. Paul Blackburn, 4-2 with the 4.41 from Oakland. Tyler Anderson, 8-9 with a 2.96. I would think this would be an under. California doesn't hit. I read something. I saw something on Mike Trout. I didn't read it. And then the Mets for I'm not interested in this game. The Dodgers and Oakland. The Dodgers minus 155, 8.5. Gavin Stone, isn't he the governor? 9-4 with the 3.34, and Joey Estes 4-4 with the 4.92. But should be an over. But Oakland stopped hitting. The Dodgers stopped hitting. I give up. I can't play this game. Philadelphia at Seattle, they got to be tired from going out west. Philly 110 and 8. Tyler Phillips 3-0 with the 180 for Philly against Brian Wu. Brian Wu, the Ric Flair guy, 4-1 with a 2.35. So we're gonna go Philly under, which I hate going under in Philly games, but it worked the other day. Philly under 8. We'll just go 2 units. Hard to bet against Ric Flair. Brian Wu. See how he's bullshit on Twitter because I tweeted him, hey, there's Wu pitching, and I didn't get a response. Why wouldn't Ric Flair give me a response on Brian Wu? Really? Surprised by Ricky. And Colorado at San Diego. San Diego minus 1.5 and 8. Austin Gomer, 2-7 with the 4.79. Randy Vasquez, not much better. 3-6 with the 4.82. So let's go San Diego over only 8. That's a joke. 3 units. So let's look at our plays. It's Detroit under 7 for 3 units. Scooble's on the mound. Pitt 8.5, 2 units. Washington over 9, 3 units. The Yankees over 9, 3 units. Baltimore over 9, 3 units. Miami over 9, 3 units. Minnesota under 8.5, 2. Houston over 7.5, 5 units. Philly under 8, 2 units. San Diego over 8, 3 units. So just be careful on that Philly game. Teams that can hit the ball, I really hate betting under. All right, that's today's game. Yesterday we were plus 6 units, 2-1. Now, what happened to Caleb yesterday? Nothing. They didn't want to get him hurt. We'll see if they might take my advice by not playing him the whole year so he doesn't get hurt. And I'll tell you, the guy who did quarterback looked pretty good. Maybe you made a mistake taking Caleb. So what you have to anybody that bet this game didn't lose it. I know some of you guys had Chicago or the under 38, but it's not a bet. It's got to be a complete game to be a bet. There's no betting here. There's no action unless you did like a first half line or something like this. It's ridiculous. Brett Rippon from Boise throws 3 touchdown passes to lead the Bears. The Bears. So let's break it down. Houston, Davis Mills, 10 of 13 for 102 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Davis Mills sucks. Case Keenum, 7-9, 78 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 sack for 7 yards. Looked pretty good. I like Case Keenum. Tim Boyle couldn't make the Lions team. 2-5. I think he's from Purdue. He's terrible. 2-5 for 17 yards. Can somebody tell me why he's even out there? What do you think what are you looking at that you think this guy's any good when this guy sucks? So you're going to waste time instead of giving, Caleb time. Caleb should have been out there. Well, wait, this is Houston. Stroud should have been out there. So this is ridiculous. The Bears. Brett Rippon, 11 of 15, 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. How good is this Houston defense? This is the problem with preseason. Who knows? They play in the 4th team. So if they're playing their 4th team base vanilla defense, he lights them up. Did you get anything out of it? Is Rippon this good? I don't know. He played 3rd and 4th stringers with vanilla coverage that they have no idea what they're doing. So this is like the high school game in college. Not really count. T. Baggett, who sucks, 2-3 for 16 yards. Little dumps. And Andy Reid, 2-2 for 10 yards. Wow, very impressive. 2 little halfback passes. So is that a quarterback throwing the ball to the backside of the backfield? Ooh, like Tagliavoa. So Brett Ryan did throw 166 yards, 11-yard average, 3 touchdowns. So give it up for Brett Ryan. Or Brett Rippon. Whatever his name is. It doesn't matter. Rushing. J.J. Taylor for Houston, 6 for 16. Cam Akers, 5 for 13. I don't know anybody else. The Bears. K. Herbert, 4 for 35. Ron Johnson, 6 for 24. And that's really it. So what's the point, right? You have Gale Sayers out there. You don't have Walter Payton out there. Receiving, Houston, 18 guys. Hutchins said 5 for 56. Gronout, Stower, Ugla, Buglia, Scott Sims, Cam Akers. So the best was this Hutchinson guy, 56 yards. That's it. No touchdowns. 1 touchdown for Quentin Tarantino, 2 for 21. Longest one was a 12. Cam Akers got a touchdown, 2 for 18, 14-yard touchdown, I guess. John Menchie, well, he played at Alabama, so he must be really good. Yeah, keep believing that. And that's it. I'm not buying Houston. And again, we're not playing our regulars. Well, why don't we sit everybody out until the playoffs start? Oh, wait, because nobody would be in the playoffs. Anybody see that kickoff? How stupid that was. I have not watched it yet. If I get this right, I'm kicking off from my 35, but I got 10 guys at between the 40 and 35 or at the 40-yard line of the other team, but they can't run until the ball's kicked, and it's got to go in this landing strip around the 20. And if it goes through the end zone, they get the ball at the 30. And they can't fair catch it. Well, this is for say we don't want anybody getting hurt. Oh, okay. So why don't we make this tennis? I'm so sick of this. We don't want to get anybody hurt. So therefore, you're not running on the kickoff. Unbelievable. Returns, Houston, Sims, 1 for 21. J. Jonah Jameson, 1 for 24. And J. Jordan, 1 for 15. Chicago, T. Scott, 2 for 40. Jesse Jackson, 2 for 59. So he had a 31 yarder. Jackson has a 31-yarder, Scott a 21, Johnson a 24, Sims a 21 for the other side. So looks like you're about 25-yard returns, but where you're returning it from, the goal line. But if you kick it out of the end zone, they get about the 30. If you kick it out of bounds, I think it's the 30. It's quite stupid, basically. So you learned absolutely nothing, which is why. How do you bet this crap? How do you bet a game when none of the best players are playing in it? Not that these guys are any good. Where's Caleb? Why isn't Caleb playing in this game? He's so good that he doesn't need it? Really? Okay. Davis Mills doesn't need it. He started 10 to 13. Brett Rippon, he's probably better than Caleb. He's 11 to 15. And 3 touchdowns. You're not going to see that from Caleb. Again, it's preseason. It doesn't matter. How good is Brett Rippon? It doesn't matter. You don't know because he didn't have the starters out there, and he wasn't playing against the starting defense where they're trying to blitz him. This is the problem with football, with college, with preseason. So why do you want to bet it? Let's ask the $64 million question. Why the fuck are you betting this? You want to bet on Davis Mills, really? Now, this game only went 3 quarters. Maybe Caleb was going to play the 4th quarter. Justin Herbert has foot injury, expected to be ready for regular season. Titans DeAndre Hopkins reportedly will miss 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury. He shouldn't have been playing. He should have been sitting on the sidelines. 4 to 6 weeks. Brock Purdy's goals are clear in pursuit of status greater than system quarterback. What NFL rules are new for 24? Big change to kickoff. Highlights the list. Big stupid change. Terry Cohen informs Jess that he's ending his comeback and retiring from the NFL. I don't know who that is. Why are the Broncos all in on Bo Nix? Because he's better than anybody they got. Let's see. Bailey Zappi reacts to not getting team reps in Friday's practice. I don't blame you, Bailey. You're the best quarterback on the team. What's the problem with Bailey Zappi? Well, they got Drake May, so he'll be the superstar. Russell Wilson's training camp injury puts his potential redemption year in danger. What happened? Well, Wilson suffered a calf injury during the conditioning test, and the Steelers taking it slow with his recovery. Fields, and for that matter, Allen, have gotten extra reps. The new offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith sucks. If Fields performs well enough to win the job, Wilson really can't do anything but wait for an opportunity. If he wants to be a clear-cut starter in 20, he needs to play this year and he needs to play well. Both are in jeopardy to do this. Come on, it's a calf injury. Give me a break. The Jets' Morgan Moses felt like he was 10 years old again in return of Aaron Rodgers. There you go. That's when you're a good quarterback. Everybody's happy to see you. Why Eagles veterans expect Nick Sirianni to play starters in the preseason games. Now, Greg and John, if you're looking for a team to bet, now you can bet Philly with their starters. He's not worried about getting him hurt. Why didn't Caleb play yesterday? Giants seeing confident Daniel Jones. Yeah, nobody's rushing him. Oh, I love this one. When should retirees consider firing their financial advisor? The question is, why did they hire one in the first place? Why 49 players NFL top 100 rankings are fair and unfair? Who cares? Matt Eberflus and 31 other NFL head coaches are still figuring out, well, I'm sure, the kickoff thing. Saints release Nathan Peterman, and signed wide receiver Samson Nakua. Looks like Pukanuka's brother or something. Nathan Peterman, what was he doing on the team? You've got your guy from Fresno State, Herbner. What do you need Nathan Peterman for? Excuse me. The Drake May report, encouraging intangible quality. Well, what's that? He sucks? Jarvis Landry tries out with the Jets. He wants to play for Aaron Rodgers. Mike Zimmer is expanding my versatility. Bears kick returner Tyler Scott, new kickoff rules will work out pretty good. Yeah. How the Bears will feel. Caleb Williams will benefit from the preseason opener, even though he didn't play. Yeah, that's not going to happen. All right, so that's a little bit of football. Bullion dealer speaks out on silver price manipulation. Problem is, he doesn't have a fucking clue. This guy's not worth watching. All right, let's go to fire and explosions sweep across China.
金风 is a nickname for Xi Jinping wild trip.
Fire and explosions sweep across China. Xi Jinping prepares for civil war in fucking China.
With people seeking refuge in the smoke, and some were perched on windows from which thick smokes were billowing, with people below shouting, "Don't jump!" In the video, the entire building is shrouded in smoke, looking like a giant chimney spewing black smoke into the sky. From afar,
Cool.
the smoke looked as if it's a dragon rising from hell into the air. Long rescue ladders were seen trying to save people, but they were still far from the crowded floors, their lives hanging by a thread. More tragic scenes from the Jilding department store fire has emerged. The fire inside the building was ferocious, the toxic smoke rolling through, trapping nearly 100 people. According to official reports, the fire started at 6:11 p.m. on July 17 due to construction work and was extinguished by 3 a.m. the next day. 75 people were rescued, with 39 injured and 16 dead. On July 18th, at around 11:40 a.m., flames erupted across the street of Huizhou, Guangdong. Netizens exclaimed, "What are the city management officials doing?" In the video, a gas pipeline leak caused multiple manholes along the street to spew fire in Huizhou's Huiyang district. Fortunately, there were no explosions or casualties. The incident was caused by roadbed drilling that punctured a gas pipe. For the CCP, even the worst events are opportunities for self-promotion. Indifferent to the people's lives, as netizens say, they are good at silencing people rather than solving problems. Despite this, Chinese citizens still manage to share many of these sudden incidents online. On July 28, a fire broke out in a finished goods warehouse in Haiyang County, Zhejiang Province, with thick smoke visible from several kilometers away. According to official reports, there were no casualties or injuries at the scene and no property damage.
Wow, that explosion was so intense.
On July 7, at 11:35 a.m., a fire occurred in a factory in Dongxiang village, Dongguan, affecting an area of about 300 square meters. The fire was brought under control with no casualties. Some people felt unwell and were taken to the hospital for checks, and there
could be only one.
Under control with no casualties. Some people felt unwell and were taken to the hospital for checks, and their conditions were stable. The fire happened at a chemical fiber product company. Witnesses described the factory as quickly engulfed in flames, with thick smoke blotting out the sky. The intense fire and explosions frightened nearby residents. Even in Guangzhou's Xintang across the river, netizens reported a pervasive foul smell and fierce flames. In a China led by the CCP, you'll never truly know what happened. Netizens joke that any boastful numbers are inflated while casualty figures are minimized. On July 3rd, an explosion occurred in Nanyang City, Henan Province, injuring 20 people, including 3 in serious condition. According to a news report, at around 2 p.m. on July 3rd, an explosion was reported at a shop on Changjiang Road, Nanyang City, causing injuries.
Sorry about that.
Fire trucks had arrived on the scene. The explosion.
All right, so we've got this. That's fine. Now we have a new one. Why Japan is heading into bankruptcy. Well, let's do one more China. U.S. firms massively exit China.
So you want the good news or the bad news first? Well, the bad news is I don't have a real estate course to sell, but the good
stated that China's primary capital market is dead because government funds, which dominate the market. China's venture capital industry is undergoing significant changes. Since the end of the zero-COVID policy, more American investors have been leaving China, and the flow of American funds into Chinese startups has been drying up. According to data from PitchBook, which tracks startups, the transaction involving Chinese startups, including those with American investors, dropped by 88% from $47 billion to $5.6 billion between 2021 and 2023. This starkly contrasts with the situation 20 years ago when American investors flocked to China. 20 years ago, Silicon Valley Bank led the first group of 25 American investors to visit China, where they received a red carpet welcome. Sequoia Capital started investing in China in 2005. According to Bloomberg, Doug Leone, Sequoia's CEO at the time, visited China for the first time that year and was greeted with a red carpet and saluting guards as he met with top Chinese officials. Following this, Sequoia and other venture...
Oh, wait, here's Daria saying what happened. Sorry, boys, but when I hear from Daria, it's not as often. All right. So U.S. firms are exiting China because China's economy is collapsing, as is their government.
Following this, Sequoia and other venture capital firms set up branches in China. Sequoia alone has invested in over 1,200 Chinese startups. However, in 2023, due to geopolitical tensions, Sequoia spun off its China operations into a separate entity, Sequoia China. The increasing geopolitical tensions have led to more restrictions from both the US and China. Washington is tightening its scrutiny of US investments in areas like semiconductors, AI, and quantum computing. For example, US venture capital firms like GGV Capital, GSR Ventures, Qualcomm Ventures, and Walden International were investigated by a U.S. congressional committee in 2023 for their investments in sensitive Chinese technologies. Many U.S. venture capital firms have scaled back their investments in China. Some have separated their Chinese operations from their U.S. operations, and some have stopped new investments in China altogether. U.S. venture capital firms are pulling out. According to research firm Dealogic, foreign investment in China's venture capital sector plummeted by 60% to 3.7 billion US dollars in 2023, just 10% of the peak in 2021. The South China Morning Post reports that both industry insiders and market data indicate a major shift in China's venture capital industry, with the long-standing relationship between American investors and Chinese startups coming to an end. NYU law American investors and Chinese startups coming to an end. NYU law professor Jerome Cohen notes that the cycle has been broken and that the gap between U.S. funds and Chinese tech startups.
Just a second. All right, let's try this again. Sorry about that.
Has been broken, and that the gap between U.S. funds and Chinese tech startups will continue to widen. In this context, despite Beijing's ongoing signals to welcome foreign investment, the response has been lukewarm. Mr. Liu, who is involved in U.S. cross-border investments, said American investors take risks to their country seriously. They won't be swayed by mere statements from the Beijing government. They observe actions over long periods. For example, local governments and state-owned enterprises in China have become major players in the venture capital industry, according to Chinese research firm Zero to IPO by 2020.
Stick with me for 30 seconds, and I'll show you the trading strategies I used that allowed me to quit my full-time job.
2023, China had established 2,086 government-guided funds with a target size of 12.2 trillion yuan and committed capital of about 7.13 trillion yuan. However, the expansion of state-backed funds has sparked debate about the future of China's venture capital industry, as these funds tend to avoid risks and prioritize local investments, fundamentally changing the industry's commercial landscape. Meanwhile, the state advances while the private sector retreats. This has accelerated the withdrawal of market-driven capital. In a recent speech, founding partner and CEO of China eCapital stated that China's primary capital market is dead because government funds, which dominate the market, are highly sensitive to any losses. For global investors in the Chinese stock market, the latest data released by the Chinese government has only added to their frustration. On July 15th, the Chinese National Bureau of Statistics reported that the country's economy grew by 4.7% in the second quarter, marking the slowest growth since the first quarter of 2023. The series of measures implemented by the government have done little to restore consumer confidence in China. The data also showed that in the first half of this year, real estate development investment fell by 10.1%, and the sales area and sales volume of new commercial housing nationwide decreased by 19% and 25% respectively. The struggling real estate sector shows no signs of improvement and continues to drag down the economy. Reuters mentioned that China still has a long way to go to achieve any meaningful recovery and boost the stock market, which has risen by just over 1% this year. Earlier this year, the Chinese government introduced a series of support measures to try to prop up the sluggish stock market, resulting in a brief market rebound. However, months have passed, and the instability of China's economic recovery and the lingering real estate crisis remain unresolved. Many real estate developers still face the risk of liquidation. Meanwhile, geopolitical challenges like trade frictions between China, Europe, and the US further hinder China's economic recovery. The deteriorating investment environment in China has not only led to a continuous exit of international venture capital, but also affected related service industries. Several American law.
All right, so basically, their whole country's falling apart. All right. Now we get to Japan is heading to bankruptcy.
Why is the world's fourth largest economy teetering on the edge of bankruptcy? And how could this looming financial catastrophe spill over into the United States? In order to explain just how close Japan is to the brink of disaster, we need to do a little historical recap. In the 1980s, the Japanese economy was booming and had grown to rival even that of the United States. But beginning in 1990, Japan experienced one of the worst economic crashes in all of history. And this crisis was so bad that economists and historians call it the lost decades. That's decades, plural. In order to combat this economic downturn, politicians began turning on the money printers at the Bank of Japan. This strategy, known as quantitative easing, involves creating money to buy government bonds. The idea was to inject this newly created money into the economy with the goal of lifting Japan out of a recession. Sounds simple enough, but it isn't. It's actually incredibly difficult because the more money you print, the less it's actually worth. Unless, of course...
Sounds familiar. The more you print, the less it's worth. So Japan is going collapsing. China's collapsing. We're collapsing. The euro is collapsing. Everybody's collapsing because the Keynesians believe you can just keep printing and nothing will happen.
It's backed by corresponding economic growth. But the Japanese economy has been stagnant since 1994. And with a shrinking economy, prices have been consistently falling. So the country's central bank kept printing. for over 30 years. And with each new crisis, the process only accelerated. Case in point, since 2020, Japan's money supply has surged by more than 200 trillion yen. So, where did all this money go? And the answer is government bonds. As a result, Japan's debt has ballooned to over 260% of its GDP, making it the highest in the developed world. Simply put, the Japanese government owes more than twice what it brings in through taxes each year. And with an aging population and shrinking workforce, there's almost no way to pay this down. This means that while the Bank of Japan continued to print hundreds of trillions of yen to boost the economy, it also had to keep interest rates at zero or even below zero in order to make sure the government didn't go bankrupt. But no country can play this game of musical chairs forever. While initially Japan experienced years of deflation, it's finally getting the sort of inflation that politicians actually wanted. And that's the problem. The value of the yen is in free fall compared to other currencies like the dollar. And the Bank of Japan cannot raise interest rates to put a stop to this, because if they do, it will trigger a nationwide debt crisis. But as the yen continues to lose value, the cost of goods and services continue to rise. But as the largest foreign holder of American debt, Japan has one final tool it can use to try and tackle inflation and defend its own currency without triggering a nationwide debt crisis. It can sell the U.S. treasuries it owns and use the profits to buy yen. And this is how the looming disaster in Japan could spill over into the United States. Because if Japan continues to offload more than $1 trillion worth of treasuries, it will send interest rates higher in the U.S., making it more expensive to service America's own massive federal debt. Ultimately, Japan's looming debt and inflation crisis was almost entirely brought about by politicians who thought they could print their way to prosperity. The tragedy is this crisis has the potential to only accelerate America's own debt and inflation problems, which itself was brought about by politicians who also thought they could print their way to prosperity. The bottom line is this. As much as politicians would like to believe that there is some sort of magical shortcut they can take to increase prosperity or ward off bad investments, there isn't one. And political manipulation will only make it worse.
It's called Austrian economics, Adam Smith, free market. If you just get out of the fucking way and let the free market work, you'll have your prosperity without inflating your money. What are they thinking? I'll print money, and how is that going to help the economy? Because as you print the money, it becomes worthless, which makes it even worse for the economy. But let's say you're printing the money. How does that supposed to make the economy go? Everybody's going to buy things just because you're printing the money? It doesn't work like that. So if you give me $1 million, what am I going to do? Go buy golf clubs and tennis rackets? I'll go on vacation. I might buy a house. But the money you're giving me is not worth anything. And that's what happens. But why do they keep thinking the money's worth it? So you have Japan collapsing, you have China collapsing, you have Germany collapsing, you have Italy collapsing, Britain collapsing, Canada's gone. This is a big fucked up world we're in because they're all Keynesian. And then here comes the BRICS to save the day with the gold-backed currency. That's what's going to save the day, is the gold-backed currency, because you can't print it. So I don't know why everybody thinks. Why do they even think we can print it and that'll stimulate the economy? Why do you think that? It only stimulates if it's productive, by not printing the money.
This is why Friedrich Hayek once warned that the curious task of economics is to demonstrate to men how little they really know about what they imagine they can design. Do you have a why you would like us to answer? Why did Germany?
So here looks like you're going, why did Germany collapse in the 1920s? Let's look at this
Germany's
one.
Weimar Republic fail, and why is it still relevant today? Because we often think that this was pretty much inevitable, right? But consider this. The Weimar Republic managed to survive 4 communist revolutions, 3 attempted coups, and one of the worst cases of hyperinflation in history. What's more, Germany's defeat in World War I and the subsequent Treaty of Versailles left the nation humiliated and economically crippled. And despite all of this, the Weimar Republic managed to continue functioning all the way till 1933, when the Nazis and a certain failed Austrian painter finally seized power and ushered in a dictatorship. So, how could it end like this? How could the Republic survive so much chaos, so many challenges, only to collapse after just a few election cycles? Well, the seeds of this catastrophe began in 1929 with the onset of the Great Depression and the inability of German politicians to manage the crisis. In September 1930, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, more commonly known as the Nazis, made sweeping gains, becoming the second largest party in the German parliament. This should have set off alarm bells for anyone opposed to the sort of authoritarian regime that the Nazis were promising. But instead, political fragmentation made it impossible for anyone to form a stable government. Left-wing parties like the SPD refused to compromise in order to form a broad coalition to stop the Nazis or the communists. Meanwhile, ostensibly conservative parties found themselves voted out of office by an increasingly radicalized public that demanded change. By 1932, the Reichstag was dominated by extremists, the Nazis and communists, who were more interested in dismantling the republic than saving it. What's more, the constant use of emergency decrees by President Paul von Hindenburg only further undermined the rule of law. But here's the thing. Republics can survive a lot, wars and even economic catastrophes, when people band together for the sake of the country and the values in which it's founded. What they cannot survive is a crisis of legitimacy and the raw abuse of power. The Weimar Republic's political process became a tool for destroying one's foes rather than solving national problems. This abuse was evident when Hindenburg appointed Hitler as chancellor in January 1933. This decision was driven by the political establishment, who foolishly thought they could control Hitler for their own ends. Instead, it paved the way for the Nazis to dismantle the Republic from within. After Hitler's appointment, the Nazis pushed through the Reichstag Fire Decree and the Enabling Act within a matter of months, suspending civil liberties and allowing for the rest of political opponents. The Nazis' control extended quickly over all aspects of German society. Opposition parties were banned and regional governments were brought under their control. All told, Hitler needed just 6 months to go from an appointed chancellor to an absolute dictator. Nearly a century later, the demise of the Weimar Republic serves as a cautionary tale about what happens when the political process becomes a tool for destroying one's political opponents. And after all, Hitler's party won those seats in parliament. Hitler was legally appointed. The bills they passed in order to take absolute power were legally passed through the Reichstag. The bottom line is democratic processes in and of themselves do not ensure a free society. In order to have that, you need to have a people that is willing to fight for it and politicians that are willing to preserve it. Do you have a why you would like us to answer? Go into the link in the description and pose your question, and maybe the next Why Minutes will be...
Well, no, Hitler did not get elected, and Hitler did not do anything legally. He only got 30% of the vote. The guy died was the problem. All right, let's see. So China's in big fucking trouble. Here's Japan's crisis is spreading to the world. It's going to be a big problem. This is really funny. They let a guy in the Olympics box a girl. What the fuck is going on here? What's the point of it? Why would he even do it? Oh, I beat up a girl. Yeah, oh, wonderful. All right, so let's look at Mark McGuire.
Traditional methods that everyone's been using since before you and I were kids. Take some of those savings, like these.
Mark McGuire and this idiot, Craig Hemke, who really clueless. Here's my comments. Craig is a Keynesian laugher. He's clueless. BRICS gold-backed currency in October. Why is Andy quiet about this when he says it and Craig didn't? Craig doesn't understand COMEX and derivatives. Laugh out loud. Why is he a guest? Again, laugh out loud. Lifeboat. He says my lifeboat is my line. He's stealing it. So he basically is a motherfucker. All right. So let's. This is a good one. How long can the Fed maintain its weak hand? So let's watch this.
A weak hand, and everyone's learned their stupid game, and they just do it time after time. But how long do you think they can keep this up?
Well, it becomes a function of physical. It's like the video that we recorded. What is that, Andy? 2 or 3 years from now, you know?
That was great.
all the fake digital alchemized metal that is treated as good as the same, good as gold, and the unallocated accounts, the ETFs, and the like.
Yeah.
As long as there is a perception that there's sufficient metal to be delivered at whatever price is derived through all the derivative trading, then the market continues to function. It's when you get a bank run, when people go, wait a second, I sound like you. Wait a second, hold on just a minute. I didn't do my best accent there, Andy, but that's an Andyism. I'm not waiting 60 days for my metal. It says right here, you're going to. And so until there's that sort of fractional reserve system breakdown and demand for immediate delivery, then the system continues. And that's why, again, I see even people on my site, but I see people on Twitter or other analysts say, oh, yeah, the next stop for silver is 48 or the next stop for gold is 3,000. I'm like, it has not been my experience in 15 years of doing this that's how these markets operate. They go up. In bull markets, they make a series of higher highs and higher lows where price takes 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. All the spec money rushes in. You reach a crescendo like we reached last week with some of the largest speculator and hedge fund positions that we've seen in years. And then all of a sudden, everybody that's bought has bought. The momentum kind of tips over. The banks and the Fed kind of help it along. And all of a sudden, you get this correction where the money rushes back out. And then we're washed and we're rinsed and we're ready to start the next move higher. And I think that's where we're getting to. August is seasonally.
See, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get these are derivatives done by JP Morgan. So when the price goes up from China and India and Russia buying, then the derivative's nice and high, and then they do their derivative down. That's what's happening. Like, he doesn't understand it. These are just derivatives. They're now shorting they're doing put options. That's what's happening. So it's got nothing to do with anything. I mean, he still doesn't get this. Really? He doesn't get that they go down because of the derivative. What a fucking idiot.
About the second best month of the year. It doesn't mean we go up every August, but if you average out all the gains from August over the last 25 years, it's second only to January. And then you throw on some of the macro stuff, like, even this week we've seen Bill Dudley come out, former head of the New York Fed, say, the Fed should cut now, not wait. Powell's leaning that direction. The U.S. economy is clearly slowing and rolling over. So if we get into August and we either get a surprise rate cut, which I'm really not expecting next week from the Fed, but as we get into August and we get to the Jackson hole down, as I call it, where everybody focusing on all the central bank ministers that'll show up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for their annual meeting in late August. And then we'll start looking at the September FOMC and a whole extra month of bad data. I mean, that's where you can start to see the seasonal effect be backed by kind of some fundamental stuff too. So whether it'll be enough to finally bust us out, we were sure close last week. But it might. And the next target is, probably more like 2650 on gold and 34, 35 in silver. And I think as we make the next move up, I think we'd all probably take that, and then see where we go from there.
Yeah, and I think that what's interesting really, and this brings to put context into silver. Now, since Basel III NSFR conditions kicked in on the 1st of January, it's taken a while, but essentially now because the physical markets in the UK that are physically deliverable, and we do see the short positions in the on the COMEX really are largely hedging position, and obviously we know that it's position concentration. So you can still play the game with position concentration, but step by step, gold has risen because ultimately it's physically backed. Now, silver, on the other hand, is not NSFR compliant. And what is so interesting is that we've got my Indian connection, and they have been very, very busy buyers through this entire sell-off. And what it is that you can't take an ETF in silver, you can in gold. So in gold, you take an ETF, you transfer it across to London, it becomes physically deliverable, and you have to T+1 it. You have to stump up that physical. Silver is not NSFR compliant. So what they're doing is literally buying the silver. There's no point in ETFing it. It becomes an unallocated account, which then gets salted amongst the bullion banks. But they're going directly to the COMEX, and they're going to the back door, and they're taking it out, because where else can I have got silver at $29 this week? Where else other than to go to the COMEX and say, give it to me, baby, because I can't get it anywhere else.
And that's an astute bit of analysis right there, my friend. It is we were at 700 million ounce supply deficit, excuse me, over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
At present, and again, this is just where we are right this moment. The silver price is actually seeming to be hindered a little bit by what's going on in copper. Gold took off, broke out in March, 1st of March, and then rallied all the way to the middle of April, almost, 15%. But for most of March, people on my side were pulling their hair out. Why isn't silver going up? And often silver going up is the key to getting the mining shares to go up too. And so everybody was going crazy. Well, and I kept thinking, well, let's just wait and see if copper eventually breaks higher, because the fundamentals for copper are so strong. And suddenly copper takes off and silver goes with it. And they both peaked out right around the 17th or the 20th of May. Copper traded over $11,000 a ton in London, and I think it hit $5.17 a pound in New York. Well, this week, just 2 months later, it's like $4.17 a pound. It's down nearly 20%. Well, so I think the part of the reason silver is struggling here, at least just even getting some of these hedge funds to buy it, is I would encourage people to, I'm sitting here holding this pen and playing with it. Maybe this would be a good example. Think of gold on one side.
Okay, I don't need that example.
Russia and China being the kingpin here, then you've got a multipolar powerhouse, which, and even this, we've got evidence now, or we've heard information that the BRICS are going to form their own parliament, that this is turning into a real, a shit show for the dollar, because why, and especially, and the other thing is then if you are pivoting over to China, and you've already got sanctions galore against Russia, and now you've got increasing sanctions against China. If you're India, for example, and you are now dealing with Russia and China, which they are, don't you think sanctions are coming their way too? So there comes a point where you just simply need to get your gold back, de-dollarize as quick as possible, because you know it's coming. It's weaponized. We've seen it weaponized, and they're going to re-weaponize.
No doubt. Andy, I saw 2 weeks ago, after the ECB and the EU and the US rolled out their plans, are going to start stealing Russia's assets that they froze back at the beginning of the Ukraine war. Now their plans to start stealing Chinese assets because they're supporting Russia.
Yep.
I mean, wait a minute. Hold on just a second. Andy line for you. Anyway, anybody could see this coming, and you might not. If you're India, you might, to your point, right now, not see. You can see where your interests maybe are aligned with the U.S. in some regards, but you can certainly see where, if at some point your own national interest goes against what the U.S. perceives to be their own national interest, you got to sit back and go, well, it's just a matter of time before they do that to us. And so these people that, and we've been talking about this for 10 or 15 years. There's so many people out there that exist in the fiat world, that the only world they've ever known is the U.S. with this, this transitory title of dollar reserve currency and all of the benefits that have come with that. And they think that that's always going to be that way because that's the way it was yesterday. It's not always going to be that way. The countries are preparing for their future as well. And so this is all part of what augurs for the gradual, steady accumulation of gold and silver, physical gold, physical silver, because they have always been and will always be your lifeboat in that storm of economic instability.
Your lifeboat. Where the fuck did he get that from? Never said it before. I hate when these guys steal from me and then they don't give me, per the Teaserking. What an asshole this guy is.
Moving from one monetary system to another. That's always been the role of gold and silver, is to get you across the sea into safe harbor. And if you can't, really.
That's not the role of it. It's supposed to be money. It's supposed to be money that you can't print. That's the role of gold and silver. We should never get off the gold standard, not bridge it to get to the next fiat fiasco. What this guy's so fucking stupid.
The signs are all there. Anybody that wakes up, at some point in the future and goes, God, I don't know how I didn't see this coming. Well, you just weren't paying attention. And so that's why, we can.
Yeah, I don't like that. That it's not that people don't pay attention. People don't know. That's why people need teachers like me to explain to them, because they don't know. It's not that they don't pay attention or that they have no idea. They're doing what they're told. They're buying. They're putting their money in stocks. They're saving their money. The problem is it's U.S. dollars, which they don't understand, is going to collapse. So they need to understand that, but nobody, they got to be explained it to them. But I don't need this idiot demeaning everybody.
And I feel this way too a lot of times. I complain. Every time I see the blatant manipulation, because you can see it on almost a daily basis, it's so frustrating. But at the same time, if I can still go online and buy myself an ounce of gold for $2,400 or an ounce of silver at $29 or $30. Thank you. I thank you. I appreciate that, powers that be. Can I have some more, please? Because we're being blessed with more time to accumulate and prepare for what is an economic, monetary certainty.
And this is one of the good things about your site, Craig, is that you are providing information for people to make up their own minds. But it's all about, to me, bottom line is we all need to take personal responsibility. Hallowed casino world, then it's going to, the COMEX is going to have to reflect a physical price.
Yeah.
Or what we're seeing in silver. Now, you don't have to do it in gold. You can simply EFP into a T+1 deliverable contract, hence gold rising. Silver is left lagging because it's still got the legacy of what gold used to have, is that anything that you put into the spot market in London isn't deliverable. So
Right.
as you say, so I think that means that the crosshairs are on the COMEX, and I think that's something they must be worried about, because there's arbitrage, the big arbitrage differences between the global physical markets. We know all our silver buyers. We were acting on behalf of the silver buyers this week. The minute they said anything sub 29, how much can you get us? I mean, there it is. These fools, these absolute fools, they don't realize that what they're doing is actually ultimately shooting themselves in the foot, because as the gold price continues to rise, which they cannot stop, then obviously you can't have the ratio trade blooming up to 100 to 1 again. It's
Right.
ludicrous. Even nobody in their right mind can assimilate that in a logical mind. It doesn't make any sense. And there comes a point, I don't know, Russia and China being the kingpin here, then you've got then a multi-pole casino world, then it's going to, the COMEX is going to have to. And so I think this, as people become aware of this, hang on, maybe my old trading algorithms are misplaced. How come they're not working for me? Because I used to do one because the other did the other, or the dollar rose, I'd sell gold. But hang on, it's just disconnected.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, because this is, to me, because US treasuries, when they are clearly being swapped for gold in large enough size to create this divergence, then what we're heading for is the de-dollarization and revaluation process to come to an inflection point.
Andy, I think you've connected all the dots. And again, it just means people listening to us. You know, they can do it through Kinesis, which, as you know, I've been a supporter. What, 2017? When did we? I mean, it was something like that, wasn't it? It's been how many years? 6 or 7 now.
Yeah.
Just get yourself. Let's put it this way: if these central banks are, their treasury reserves are their dollar reserves, right? From international trade, they use a dollar, they get a whole bunch of dollars in their foreign currency reserves, and they buy treasuries. Right? That's how the system works. Well, if they're taking some of their savings and buying gold with it, which is basically what they're doing, their dollar savings, then why in the heck wouldn't people like you and me and everybody watching do the same thing? Take some of your savings.
Okay, enough with this idiot. So anyway, sorry about the interruption with Daria, but I hadn't heard from her in a week. So, no, I thought she'd text me when I was in the interview. So it's nothing we don't know already. You buy your gold because the dollar's going out because they're printing it. There's one more I want to show you. It's this Michael Berry guy. Where did he go?
Majority of traders are hiding this exact secret from you, which pending.
Michael Burry's most dangerous prediction about the S&P.
Yeah, it's just I'm not going to play it. Michael Barron's for a new stock market crash. Well, we already know about that. We don't need this idiot telling us. So that's what we have is people don't understand it. So it all comes back to the dollar being printed to death. One guy's trying to say they didn't have, there is no petrodollar agreement. Everybody knows that it's run out in 50 years and it's done, and they didn't renew it. Everybody knows it, but some idiot. But I'm not going to play the idiot. So what happens is you've got the dollar gone. Everybody's de-dollarizing. All these countries joining BRICS to get out of the dollar because the dollar is worthless. I don't care what you say. I don't care if it's a reserve currency. You can't print the dollar to zero, right? It just doesn't matter. If you just keep printing, it goes to zero. That's it. That's what happens. And so you've got to get out of it. So step one, you got to get out of the dollar because they printed it to zero. You can't just keep printing and printing. And then all the dollars coming back because we're not on the petrodollar anymore. And these people, nobody wants to use it. So what they do, they sell the treasuries and bring it back. Japan, China have to sell the treasuries to get the money back. Japan's fucked. China's fucked. Now China can go to their gold. I don't know what Japan has in gold, but that's what's going to happen. So then that leads us to COMEX, which is price fixed by derivative paper gold and silver. Paper gold's ending soon, and when BRICS comes out in October with gold-backed currency, they're going to need a much higher gold price. Not a problem. Silver's still under the old system, so it's waning where it's still getting struck, but their derivatives controlling it. So let's see what silver's at now. Gold's back to 24.40. We got another hour. It's up until 6. So it's making a nice comeback, and silver 28.56. So you just ignore the price. This is basically silver you got to buy because it's cheap, and eventually it goes up because once we get rid of the derivatives, the demand's too huge between the solar panels and the electric cars and the fact it's money. Everybody kind of forgets it's money. It's money. It's just being held down by the derivatives. It's ridiculous because it's so cheap versus gold. But there's this Yankee Doodle Dandy guy, and he's like, "Oh, gold will hit 10 grand or whatever." Oh, not in my lifetime. Yeah, and it's like, well, what do you got? 2 months to live? I mean, because in October it's going there. Just amazing how people who don't understand don't get the change. Don't get BRICS as the catalyst of all this. Anyway, so this is what you know. So anyway, that's what we have. The gold and the silver. So the silver you're buying because it's going to be, at least a couple $1,000 because it'll get back to 10 to 1. See, once gold goes through the roof, then it'll be too expensive. We'll start buying silver, and central banks will start buying silver. Central banks are buying gold, and that forces the price up. Short supply and large demand make price go high. Not hard to understand. Everybody wants it, and there's not a lot to want to have. So therefore the price goes up. And that's very simple. Anyway, Sorry about dropping the phone. I'm a little bit tired. It's an exciting day. So the interview went very well at 9. Finally, I hear from Daria. She said a colleague. I love how she said, "Well, my colleague was ill, so I worked for them." And I'm like, "Well, just tell me your work. Like, doesn't it dawn on you to say hello to me and read my text?" That's what gets me upset. And that's where I got to stay stoic. I understand. I said, "Why don't you just send me a text that you're working?" Because it looks like you're not thinking about me, right? You love me, but you're not thinking about me for a week because you go to work. And I'm like, come on. So that's where I don't understand her. She again now she just wanted, let's postpone the vacation because my mom's got a problem. Well, do you want to meet? And then why is it so difficult to meet you? It shouldn't be this hard to meet her. This is where I'm struggling. Uh, you know, whatever. Okay, when do you want to meet? In 20 years? You should want to meet me, and you shouldn't have all these problems. I said, I'll fly into Russia if that's the case. But she's like, no, I want a vacation with you. Yeah, but it seems like we're not going to be able to vacation. So let me just come in so I can meet you already. I got to meet you. I got to meet you live. And you seem to, there's always an obstacle. It's the daughter's got school. It's the daughter's got summer school. The mother wants this, that, and the other. It's always a million excuses. You think you'd want to meet me. So do you want to meet me or not? And so that's where I'm struggling with her. Now she finally, after weeks, how are you? And you're like, because it puts other people on hold. I could have met Jenna in July, but I wasn't sure about her. And that's where I really get pissed off, is that I could have met somebody else, but I'm waiting for you and then you're not meeting me. So, okay. So I think what I'll do is go meet Jenna now, because that's wide open. And then if I get the job, I'll just say, well, I'm on vacation. I'll start when I get back. That seems to be the easiest thing. Anyway, so the trust looks like it's bigger than I thought, which is nice. And should be settled in fall, so October-ish, November. And that'll be good. And hopefully I get this job, and then we got gold going up in October. So things are starting to come together. I'm going to show you a negative guy, Yankee Doodle Dandy. I'm going to show you this just to get the other perspective of how stupid a guy is.
After this video, your life is never going to be the same. So I need you to stop whatever.
If I sat down and thought of all the great safe places to put your money, the only one that really comes to mind is gold.
Why should I stack silver?
To get it before it's too late. Silver will be useful as a currency, okay, or a substitute for currency for all these people who are criticizing me.
Okay, it is a currency. It's not a substitute for a currency. It's not barter. These people don't even understand what barter is. All right.
Buy your precious metals online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold and silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Very cool. Nice. What do you have today, Tim, for silver and gold?
Everything. Yeah, we have a lot of Silvertown. We have a lot of Highland Mint.
The sunshine.
Sunshine. Got a couple of those. Yeah.
I like the spread, Tim. You did a really good job this time.
There's an example of a guy who owns a store, doesn't know what he's doing.
I'm waiting for the glass to break. What? You don't know who that was?
Yeah, I do. Silvertown, love it. This thing is really toned up. Wow.
Okay, and how many are you wanting to sell? Okay, so you have 5 tubes. Okay, I would say just bring them in anytime. We are buying them, yes.
These are kind of cool.
Thank you very much. All right, bye.
Yeah, we're doing the talents. You're doing talents.
Okay, so how many of these bars we have?
All right, so you had 10. You were allocating by style?
Yeah, no, didn't do that.
Yeah, so there's 20 here.
He'll
Check
get
it
to
out.
talking in a minute.
20 bars. 1 ounces.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Kind of a smorgasbord.
A few SD Bullion bars in there.
Yeah,
So.
yeah,
Silvertown.
Sorry, old guy.
Johnson Matthew.
Yeah.
There's an SD.
Yeah.
Very nice. Video. So you're making fun of me for riding my bike over here?
No.
Yes, you
We're
are.
telling people that you came from 50 miles away.
I gotta get my exercise in.
We have the 2 American Eagles, these 2 bar, this, and 20 of those.
Right.
Okay.
Are those fractional down there?
Oh, the little ones? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
1
grams.
grammars. Yeah.
Not today.
Okay. You just asked if you had any dirty, nasty silver eagles. Do you have
No,
any?
I sold them all to that guy Yankee.
You don't have any more?
There's probably some on the stairs back there.
Where I went to get these bars?
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me to look for the 1 ounce bars. Yeah, that's not how the 1 ounce bars boxes should be labeled, Tim.
Well, I did. I just wanted to confuse the robbers when they came in.
Yeah, subterfuge. Subterfuge.
Yes, you filming me for some reason here, Yankee?
Are you done with this, gentleman?
Well, let's see.
I want to make sure you're done.
He does have some money left, so maybe not. With the amount of silver this guy's buying, he'd be taken care of in the Weimar Republic, which is coming to a
theater near you.
a state near you.
Oh boy,
Scary.
It is scary.
Well, our
there's-
interview, it sparked quite a lot of conversation. People are saying, Tim, you're hurting the case for silver. Why would I even invest in silver after what you just said? I tried to answer it, but I want to hear your answer.
Well, the answer is, why has silver not gotten back to $50 an ounce? Why does it go up to
Price
30
fix.
something and drop back to 29, 28?
So doesn't he understand what price fixing is? That the government and the banks are keeping the price down? Does he not? And it's not free market. I guess not. This is our first problem.
Reason for that.
I know.
Okay.
You made that case.
If there were more industrial use of silver, that wouldn't happen. I think the only crying need for silver would be for barter.
For monetary. So that brings me to
It's money. What the fuck's he talking about? You can't barter it because you don't know the prices have to be in silver. So if I go to Kroger's, milk has to be priced in silver for me to use silver. What am I going to take the silver that's worth $30 and buy milk that's worth what? $3 in US dollars? You'd be out of your mind. So the only way I use silver as barter is if the dollar's gone. And then you need to reprice your goods in silver. So it's not barter, it's money. All right.
the question that not everyone, a lot of people are asking, why should I stack silver?
To get it before it's too late.
And what is the too late?
When we go to a barter community, I think there's barter all over the country, and silver is the easiest thing to use for barter. And keep in mind that the easiest barter is dimes, quarters, and half dollars prior to 1965, and the availability of those is starting to drop.
Your narrative was in stark contrast to the Wall Street silver apes, to the moon silver, you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, well, I did hear somebody say that silver is going to $5,000 an ounce. Not in my lifetime. It will come in handy.
Oh, not in your lifetime, huh? What do you think happens when the dollar goes out and BRICS has gold-backed currency? You don't think it's going to go to 5,000? If when gold goes to 50, it'll be 10 times. So it would be 5,000. So I don't know what his lifespan left is, 1 year. He's not thinking third dimensionally. In other words, the dollar goes out, BRICS has gold-backed currency, gold runs, silver runs, and we blow up COMEX, then you're going to get your 5,000. Right now it's being pushed down by COMEX, by all the derivatives. So of course you're not going to see it. What an idiot.
But going into the thousands, not going to happen.
You're 78 years old, right?
Bullshit.
Do you think it's foolish for someone like me, 58, to be stacking for a worst case scenario?
No, I don't think it's foolish at all. People should have enough backup to last a year in case.
Well, how much is a year? You don't even know.
Don't elect a government that wants to shy away from wars. And
First of all, we don't elect the government. George Soros does. The election is not free or fair. Soros checks who he wants to win, and that's who wins. Oh, he just happened to get enough votes. So don't give me this shit about us electing somebody. We don't elect anybody. Our vote doesn't count. The election's fixed. That's over his head.
Re-elect a government that is willing to go to war whenever they feel like it. Because every international incident causes inflation. And why? Because there are governments around the world, not too many of them, fortunately, that like to fund conflict.
Again, inflation's printing the money. So every war, all military is inflation because you print it and you don't get a revenue out of it. It's money that's spent, but just because you have a war doesn't mean it's inflationary if it's within the budget and you're getting enough tax dollars to pay it. It's the money over the tax dollars that create money printing, which creates the inflation. Too much money printed. That's the inflation.
Let's say there's a conflict between Russia and, let's say, a former Soviet Union country.
Like Ukraine.
And why are we keeping this going by sending hundreds of billions of dollars into
it's a
that
Ponzi
parade?
scheme, you
I
idiot.
think it's senseless. You want a war to stop?
It's for the defense contractors. What an idiot. That's why there's the war in the first place. It's for the defense contractors to have. So I don't really get it. I mean, it's as simple as that. They want the war to sell how else are they going to sell their guns and missiles and rockets and everything else? So it's done on purpose to them to make money. Why else?
Sit down and negotiate and stop funding the war.
I don't want to.
The defense contractors don't want that.
Well, there are a lot of contractors that don't want that.
This gentleman right here actually said that he doesn't think it would matter if it was Kermit the Frog in the White House when it comes to fiscal and monetary policy. Am I correct?
100%. Stop printing money.
Thank you.
It's too much. It's not sustainable.
An
$35
Austrian.
trillion in debt and adding $1 trillion every 100 days. Yeah. That's unsustainable.
He's got a point when it comes to
He does have a point, because if you listen to the chairman of the Fed,
Right.
the last one and the current one of the things they always maintain is they have to maintain the capital reserves of the commercial banks. Okay, that's a lot of cash, because the only reason that they are maintaining the capital reserves of the bank is so if there's a run on the bank, they have enough cash to survive. So they're always going to print piles of cash just to take care of those commercial banks, which are now all aligned with investment houses, because Glass-Steagall is gone and not coming back.
So your optimism, I should say, that gold and silver will basically be flat for the next 4 years is based on what you hope and believe Donald Trump can do in the White House.
I'm very hopeful for what he can do, but he still doesn't have any allies in Washington. And if he doesn't get control of Congress, his spending will continue.
That's the biggest thing right there.
That's a problem.
That's the biggest thing. If Trump wins, he has to have control of the House and Senate.
It doesn't matter because BRICS is coming out with a gold-backed currency. and we're getting rid of COMEX. The problem is COMEX, not the Congress. Once you get rid of COMEX, then the price goes to the moon, but they don't get it. Well, the president, Trump, and the Congress and the spending, they don't print the dollars. They don't. If anything, the inflation will continue, but it's already at $150 trillion, and you got rid of the petrodollar. So now all the dollars are coming back. China and Japan are going broke. They're going to sell all their treasuries back for money so they can buy gold. What the fuck does it matter who's in the White House? No. BRICS announcing gold-backed currency and blowing up COMEX, and we'll get $20,000, $30,000 an ounce gold, which leads you to, let's say it's $20,000 ounce gold, it's $2,000 silver. But this idiot can't see that. He doesn't get it that, because he doesn't get its price fixed. He doesn't get its paper gold, not paper silver, not physical. So therefore, he can't envision, no, it only goes to 50. How's it going to get to 1,000? Because it's not the real price, the paper price. And if it blows up to a physical price, we're talking physical here. So we just got to get to a physical price. It's over his head.
Or it won't go anywhere. That's the biggest thing.
There won't be any change at all.
Nothing.
And keep in mind that gold is a different entity altogether because it's more affected by world events.
No, it isn't.
If China figures that the renminbi seems to be losing value, they go out and buy a whole lot more gold. Same that Turkey did.
Are you a true believer in gold and silver as a good way to prepare yourself and to ensure the future?
Well, if I sat down and thought of all the great safe places to put your money, the only one that really comes to mind is gold.
And silver.
Yeah, I've had my difficulty with banks. And
well documented.
To be having the trouble that I've been having with banks, there's got to be a problem in the banking community.
Sure.
A
Really?
lot of banks are having a great deal of difficulty. I don't know if the right term is staying afloat, but it might be. Everybody needs to be more careful with their money.
Yeah.
And limit how much you're putting in the bank.
You're saying gold, but you do still believe that purchasing silver as a hedge, as a form of barter, potential barter,
Money.
is still a good idea.
Oh, yeah. I think silver is a bargain price. And
but useful in the future, potentially.
Useful in the future in a lot of ways. I mean, look, I can go to an ice cream stand down in Haverhill and use silver to buy an ice cream cone.
That's true. I hope I get to interview him soon.
But you got to get him some business.
Because it's real
Yeah,
money.
I need to get down there. But I guess a lot of people have questioned what you said that Thursday night and again on Tuesday when I took the excerpt and wondered, wait a minute, does he really believe in silver or is he just selling it to pay his bills and to make money?
I think silver is going to be as valuable as money and not too distant, not too far in the future. It's going to be
just after you're gone.
Probably, yeah.
Man, you are optimistic about the timing. You really are. Are you as optimistic?
Not really. I honestly think that the dollar will not be the reserve currency in my lifetime.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you implying that I was optimistic about the dollar?
I was questioning whether you were optimistic that in your lifetime you're not going to need gold and silver.
No. In my lifetime, silver's not going to go to $5,000 an ounce in my lifetime.
I get you.
Is it going to go to $50 an ounce? I think that's a good probability.
Not 100.
No, I think that's out of the question.
That's worst case scenario.
In my lifetime, yeah.
What an idiot. What do you mean out of the question? Just get rid of fucking COMEX, okay? The whole, does he talk about BRICS? No. Does he understand COMEX's paper? No. Does he understand COMEX is being blown up and they're trying to get a physical market in China? Does he get any of this? Does he get BRICS with a gold-backed currency? I haven't heard him say that. That's the point that he misses. Does he understand the dollar's going to zero? Doesn't seem to get that point. So he's living in this illusional world that the money printing doesn't cause inflation and the dollar won't go to zero, and therefore there'll be no problem with gold and silver. He doesn't understand inflation. This is the problem I have with these guys. They run a store. He worked for IBM, he said, probably as a programmer or something. He's an IT guy. He's not an economist. Andy Scheckman's a salesman. Peter Schiff is a salesman. These are not economists. They haven't been schooled, but they'll say, well, yeah, I'm an economist. But they're not economists. So they don't understand. They can't go from A to B to C to D, or see the water's coming in the Titanic. I got to get to the lifeboat. They can't see it. They don't understand it. But then they make stupid comments like this, and it scares people away going, oh, I don't want to buy silver. It's not going to go to 100. Silver's going to 2,000. Sure as we're sitting here because the dollar's blowing up because they're printing it to death. As I showed you on the other guy, I can keep printing it, but it goes to zero.
If it goes to 50 or like 100, we got much bigger problems.
That's exactly right.
Much
That's
bigger problems.
Exactly
If silver's at 100, gold must be like at 10,000.
How gold?
That's why I stacked, Tim, for that potential. And if I'm wrong in my lifetime, I'll pass it on to my kids. It's insurance. I only got 18% of my wealth in it. I'm not all in on silver and gold thinking I'm going to make a pile of money.
It's a very useful metal, and there are people like me who, when they took the silver out of the coins in 1964, I said, well, that's a good reason to get more. When I first went to work for IBM, I was buying bags of dimes, quarters, and halves.
I guess people don't understand it from a dealer's perspective. This is your business. This is how you pay your bills.
It doesn't matter what your business is. You need to provide for your family. It's just that the ways of providing for your family are getting more and more uncertain. And, it used to be, back before the 87 crash, the way you bought good stocks and paid dividends, and that's your portfolio that you're going to leave for your kids.
That's old school.
Well, it is. And look at the markets today. It's the only stocks that anybody wants to buy are
tech stocks.
Tech stocks that are taking off.
Magnificent Seven.
Exactly. Or a brand new electric car that can fly. Pretty soon, you could open up a sandwich shop and call it the AI Cafe, and somebody will buy your stock. My view of future is different from your future, and I think there are lots and lots of stackers that are my age, because I talk to them every day. Why are they buying silver? Because they may need it as a currency.
I get it.
Okay. We don't know what is going to happen in the next election, because there are very few people in Washington who are concerned about you or me and our future. The more that we spend billions of dollars trying to make ourselves popular around the world, the worse our future is going to be. And, we haven't had a president yet, okay, including all of them, who has taken a close look at the spending and said, okay, this has to stop now.
Did you say all?
All.
Do you think we're going to see a different Trump fiscally, Tim? Fiscally?
Yeah, only if he has Congress.
How high do you think gold will go this year?
25.
25.
It's a great buying opportunity.
25 this year. It's 25 now. They got up to 24.79 today. Let's see, 2,500. Let's see where we at. $24.42. We're $50 away from 2,500. And he thinks by the end of the year it'll only go up $50 when it was already. We had 24.75 today. We had 24.80 last week. So it's not going to go to 2,500. It's going to $3,000. And when BRICS announces it's going much higher because they need a higher price, but nowhere does he understand what he's talking about.
It's a great buying opportunity, okay? But not just for me, for all these people who are criticizing me. Makes it a better opportunity for them.
They're not criticizing. They were just questioning the stance. That's all it was. They were confused.
I tell you that it's going to, when it's up around 24.74, it's going to correct. And it did. And
it's going to correct. Do you think it corrected? Was there a correction? No, they did a put option and lowered the price because it got too high. So at that price, they did an option. It went down, and then they sold it, and then it's coming back up, and it was 24.75. It's not a correction. Nobody's selling their gold. It's derivatives that are controlling it. What a fucking idiot. This is what I wanted to prove the point. People are listening to him. Oh shit, it'll only go to 2,500. Oh shit, silver will never get to $100. Silver will get to $1,000 very soon. What is he talking about? It's price fixed. It's held in by derivatives. It's not a free market asset. But with all the buying for the solar panels and the electric car batteries, it's about to move. So that's what he's not understanding. Get it out of the COMEX price fixing, which means BRICS setting the new price, having the Shanghai Gold Exchange price everything in physical, and it's easily $1,000 because gold's easily 10,000 because of the change of BRICS. This is not COMEX as normal. This is what this guy doesn't understand. This is not COMEX price fixing. All COMEX is derivatives. It's all made off. It's all price fixing. Okay, so again, he's quoting a paper price. Doesn't get the difference between paper and physical. So why is he doing a video, right? Now I just watched it because I want to laugh at these idiots. Why is he doing a video? He doesn't understand. So Japan's bankrupt, China's going that way, but they have they're going bankrupt, but they have a lot of gold. Like he wants China to buy more gold. Dude, they have 60,000 tons. I don't think China needs more gold. See, that's why when you listen to Egon and you listen to Mark McGuire, you understand China's got a lot more gold than they have. But when you listen to these idiots, well, China needs to buy more gold. How much more gold do they need? Hey, Bobby Bo, just there's a lot of little stupid videos we've been watching. But Mark McGuire, he had this idiot on, so we blew him up. So I talked about that a little bit. But this Craig Hemke's an idiot. And he steals my lifeboat line, which I hate. They steal my Titanic line and my lifeboat line, motherfuckers. Yeah, Mark, his Friday show. Yeah. The last Friday show was good. He said BRICS gold-backed currency 6 times. I'll show you Mark McGuire's last week's show.
$20, 180. That's how many clients I'm going to get you, and that's how many days it's going to take me to do it.
This will accelerate. Be done. Whatever the price would be revalued is where the Sino-Russian alliance revaluation price settles. And if they don't, every other global central bank would repatriate.
Well, I've been on for 2 hours, Bobby.
And exposing the Fed's gold rehypothecation forward. As we all, and we're not the only ones of that opinion, is that the gold may be in the Treasury vaults, but how many ownership claims are on it? That's the problem. But as of yesterday, the heat turned up on the Fed. In a race alongside every other BRICS bank to secure as much gold as possible ahead of the October BRICS gold-backed currency launch, India has...
See, he says it 6 times. Ahead of the October gold-backed currency launch. Said it over and over and over. So as far as I can see, it's a done deal. And what these guys don't understand, they'll revalue gold because they don't. There's too many people in China and India for them to just come out with a little bit. So they need a higher price so they can print more dollars because a gold-backed system means I can take my dollar, go to the bank, and you got to give me gold for it. Now, it's going to be 40% backed by gold, which is okay. It's too hard to do 100% backed by gold, but 40% is okay. And I think I just showed you. So gold's at 24.50 right now or something. It was all the way up to 24.79, went all the way down to 24.20, and now it's back to 24, I think 48 or something like that. So I was hoping for 2,500 by today, but it's just all derivatives, and you can see when it goes way high, Eddie Murphy does his put derivative, and then when it goes down, Dan Aykroyd does his call derivative, call option, and they want the price to go up, and they make money on both ends. When's that ending? When they run out of gold, which is very, very soon. Yeah, I still, well, I've been on 2 hours, and it's 5, so I was on about 3:30. I had my interview, went very well today at 9 to 9:30 with DTE Energy, and they're doing like trading. So they trade the commodity, they trade gas and electricity, I guess. And so right up my alley, I said I'd be a great fit. I did a great interview. I mean, I didn't fuck anything up. I didn't talk too long, and she seemed to like me. No, it was on Teams. Teams is Microsoft, Skype, or Zoom, like you're saying. So I was here talking just like this is the beauty of me doing this class is when I'm doing the interview, I'm already trained to not be afraid or anything talking on the laptop. I'm very comfortable doing it. And I would recommend anybody that's afraid of talking in front of people or teaching a class or doing an exhibit or anything, do this. Even if you don't do it, even if you just do it to yourself and you don't have anybody listening to you, do this because then you get comfortable at it, and then you have no problem. So this interview, I immediately took advantage of knowing what she wanted. She wanted a techie type of a financial analyst. I knew SAP and I knew how to do SQL queries, which is easy. It's just picking columns, but I do them a lot more in Excel Essbase. So I'm running out of battery, but I don't care. He not on the laptop, on the phone. So I immediately went to that saying, oh, you know what? Last night, once I got the description, I went on YouTube and I saw how to do the SQL queries, and they're a piece of cake. It's a relational database, and that's what I've done at Mercedes. So I immediately calmed her down because what am I doing in the interview? I'm trying to get her comfortable with me. I'm trying to say, look, I can do the job, because on your end, you're going, well, let's go to baseball. I need a third baseman. The difference is you can see me play third base and going, oh yeah, he can play it or he can't play it. But here you can't see me do my work. So what you're trying to do is say, well, I need an analyst who is good with queries. And so I immediately killed that and said, here we are. It's good for queries. I can do queries. And I gave her some examples at Mercedes and a little bit at Harley, and boom, boom, boom. So she's got to be thinking, hey, this is the guy for me. And but my recruiter wasn't there today. That's why I stopped yesterday at 5. She was on, but when I said I'll call you after the meeting, and then I called and she wasn't there, and I just tried calling when I got back from swim, and she wasn't there. So it was kind of surprising that she wasn't there today, because she let on she'd be there today. So anyway, so another recruiter kind of asked me, and he goes, well, are you just looking for short-term jobs because you had Harley is 5 months? And I said, no. Harley should have been a year, and that's what I took the job, was for a year, but they ended it after 5 months because of budget, which we had talked about yesterday. And she said, no, that's fine. You can say they ran out of budget. That's not a problem. Oh, okay. So anyway, I was hoping to hear back from the recruiter or somebody today. Man, if I don't get this job, I don't know what I got to do. but I hit the home run today. So this time I'm sure I hit the. Sometimes you think you do well in an interview, but you don't know because you don't know the other side, right? I can't read your brain when I'm talking to you, so I don't know how you're perceiving me. But from my standpoint, I hit a home run. But I think I did really well here. Yes, it was very true. That's great advice and makes sense. That it's right up your alley from doing all these classes. Yeah, it really is. And but I'm very comfortable at this. You had the interview with her this morning, so she said the next step in a few days. Well, that's when the recruiter interrupted me. I said, "So what's the next steps?" And the recruiter said, "No, no, no. I'll talk to her about next steps." And I'm thinking, there's nothing wrong with me, even though it's a contract, to say what are the next steps. Are you done interviewing, or you still got to interview for more people? When are we looking to hire? I'm not sure on my salary. It's talking to my recruiter yesterday. It was between 50 and 55, and since it was technical, she was trying to get me 55 an hour. But I don't know where she went, and then this guy stepping in, and I had to explain. No, no, no. Harley was not short term. It ended early because of budget, but it was supposed to be a year contract. No, I want a year contract. All these questions have already been answered by the regular recruiter. Like, why are you who are you? I've never talked to you before. So I don't know what the next steps are. I think they want to move quickly because the girl is leaving. And that's the problem. The girl doing the position now is leaving to a new position. So they'll need this position filled. So I'm under the impression it'll be new. Right. So yeah, she should have said when's the next step. So I was a little surprised by that. Then there's the Daria issue. Finally, I hear from Daria today, and she says, I'm still having problems with my mother about the vacation. So the mother needs to watch the daughter because somebody needs to watch the daughter. And then we can go on vacation. And she said, maybe we need to postpone the vacation. I'm thinking, don't go there with me. So I said, look, I'll let me just fly into St. Pete. You're there. I can fly into Russia now. Why don't I just come? That way we can meet. I mean, I'm saying, look, I don't mind, but we haven't met yet in person. We need to meet in person. If we want to be together, we got to meet and, spend time together, in real, not just on here where you ask for rent money. And I'll just come in. I mean, I don't know why it's so confusing. I guess the mother is getting married, I guess. So she's not available to watch the daughter. And and I'm like, we got to meet. I'm not 20 years old. It's not like, okay, you're my girlfriend and I'm 20. If we get married in 2 years, fine. But I'd like to meet you while I still can walk. So I don't know where she's at, but now I'll just go meet Jenna. The advantage of girlfriend number 2. Jenna's in Berlin now. She wants to go to Prague with her girlfriend, where she's living at her girlfriend's apartment for a week or two. And so they want to go to Prague. And so she says, well, I need $60 for the train and then a hotel. And I'm cringing, but okay. Well, now I can meet her because if I'm not meeting Daria, I'm not going to worry about meeting Daria. I gave you 10 opportunities, Daria. We were supposed to meet Christmas, supposed to meet in March. Then the daughter had homework. Then it was this summer because if the daughter's out of school, and we're still dicking around. And, I get the I love you and I want you and I'm with you, but what does it mean? So how are we going to get together if we never meet? What kind of strange? She said, I haven't heard from her a week. She says, well, my colleague was sick, so I took over for her. I go, so Why didn't you text me for 6 days? You know, does that excuse make any sense, or is it a lie where she's saying something, but it doesn't make sense that she's the excuse? Well, so why didn't you text me if you're at work? You just texted me from work now. So why didn't you text me from work on Monday saying I got to work this week? My colleague's out, and okay, so and then you're not reading my text. Why aren't you reading my text? Because they don't turn blue on WhatsApp until you read them. So that's what I get bothered by. Is like you're not even reading them. You're not talking to me for 5 days, and then your excuse is, "Oh yeah, I was working." Well, so and now like we're ready to go on vacation, and now you're dicking around again. So let me just fly into St. Pete. I'll do that. I'll get us a nice hotel and we'll stay there. And if your daughter wants to, meet me, that's fine. You would think she'd want to, or whatever. And she says, "Well, no, I want to meet you in Serbia." Well, yeah, but since it's impossible for us to do that, it's a stupid comment. Bobby, you supposed to meet in Turkey? Well, I found out the Russians can go to Serbia also, and it's very nice. And Turkey's in the middle of this whole war and everything, so I think it's safer in Serbia. But yeah, we can go to. Russians are allowed in Turkey and Serbia, and I'm allowed in Turkey and Serbia, so we can meet there. She can't meet me in Germany or Austria or Switzerland. Russians can't go there. At least I'm not aware of it. Maybe they changed it, but the whole NATO, Russians can't go to NATO. Hey, Luke, good afternoon. When is gold going up? It's up. It's 24.42 right now. So look at this day. Tough day in the market. God, silver stocks. Well, get out of the silver stocks. So look at gold. Jesus. So gold's all the way up to 24.75. And then 10 o'clock hits. And look at the 10 o'clock. Coincidental, every day at 10, it drops from 24.70 to 24.20. It drops $50. So it goes to 20, but now it's back to 24.22. And this is closing at 6 o'clock. In 10 minutes, gold will be closed for the weekend. That's what the derivatives do. Silver, 28.56. That's hurting your stocks too, Luke, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. That's the problem. We got to get out of paper, and we know that, and we got to get the COMEX. We know PRIX is going gold in October, so that should kill COMEX. And if everybody's got physical, then who cares about COMEX, right? We don't care about it. Well, we know they're bastards and we know it's rigged, but we know it's rigged. So what are you going to do, Bobby Bo? Metalism, what the hell is that? Or metals market closes at 6 every day. No, metals on Friday close at 6. The U.S. time it closes, and then it's done until Sunday night about 9. Then the Asian market is Monday morning for them. But during the week, so Monday through Thursday, the market is always open because it switches from U.S. to Asia to Europe to U.S. And so early in the morning, it's Asia, then it goes to Europe, wakes up, and then we get it. So it's gold markets for all 3 regions. But on Friday, they, for some reason, close Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You never knew that. Well, now you do. Open Sunday at 6. Is it 6? Okay. I knew it was like 8, or I usually look at it about 8 or 9 on Sunday night. Get my action. So that's not bad. Quickly, let's go through baseball. Detroit under 7. They got Super Bowl, their ace going tonight. Under 7 for 3 against Kansas City. He's got a pretty good pitcher. Pittsburgh under 8.5 for you, Luke. Good pitching, and you don't have any hitting. Clemente isn't still there. Bobby's not there, so you're in trouble. Washington over 9, 3 units. The Yankees over 9 for 3 units. Baltimore over 9 for 3 units. Miami over 9 for 3 units. Minnesota under 8.5 for 2. Houston over 7.5 just because it's Houston and it's 7.5 for 5. Philly under 8. They're going against an ace. And San Diego over 8. A lot of overs today. It's been a lot of overs this week. Yesterday I was 2-1, but I hit my 7 unit. KC lock beating Detroit. Seth Lugo getting the win. Cleveland I had beating Philly, and then the Cubs under 8. I lost in the bottom of the 9th on a 3-run homer. Or they scored 3 runs, so I think it's 4-2. So it's 6 runs going into the bottom of the 9th. And I'm under 8. I'm winning. It's it. Just 1, 2, 3. No, we got to bring in a bullpen ace with a 4 ERA, and they give up 3 fucking runs, and it goes 5-4-9 on the bottom of the 9th. Like, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, that's baseball. I went through football. Caleb didn't play. The one guy who needs the work desperately doesn't play. So my thought is that he shouldn't play at all the whole year because he might get hurt, and then play him in the playoffs. Oh, yeah, but they won't be in the playoffs. So, again, stupidity. This kickoff sounds really stupid. Just fucking kick the ball off. What are you doing? So you got 10 guys standing at the 40 at the other team's 40, and you're kicking between the 10 and the end zone. And they got to field it, and there's no fair catch. And if it goes out of the end zone, they get about the 30. It's a fucking headache. Well, who develops this shit? Why are we changing the kickoff? Oh, we don't want to get anybody hurt. Oh, well, God, we don't want to get. Maybe they should do that in baseball. Slow it down where you can't go more than 50 miles an hour on the pitch. That way, if somebody gets hurt, it won't hurt them. Oh my God. Meanwhile, every pitcher in baseball is on the IR because they keep screwing up their elbows because they're trying to spin the ball. It's just incredibly stupid. Bobby Ball. Oh, okay. So it's only closed from Friday 6 till Sunday 6. Other than that, it's on a crypto schedule where it runs overnight. I don't like that term, Bobby. Crypto? No. They're just open for business. And until from Sunday until Friday at 6. But it's not overnight. It's when it's daytime in Asia. So it's Asia's daytime, Europe's daytime, and our daytime. That's all. It's not overnight. Yeah, I see the Yanks offense are on another level this season. Well, they got 5 or 6 good hitters, and Judge is hitting all these home runs, and a couple other guys, I can't remember their names, are doing well. Oh, man, that's a tough loss. It reminds me of a teaser that I had on a Thanksgiving game where I took the Lions. Well, that's your first mistake, getting about 14.5 or something like that. And that bastard Stafford threw back-to-back interceptions. Never bet on the Lions. I thought I taught you that one. And it's about like here they're talking how good Jared Goff is, and I'm like, but he's a choke. When he was playing at Cal and they played Utah for the Pac-12 championship, he goes to Utah and throws 5 picks, and they lose the game by 30. And that was it. I said, don't draft this guy. He's a choke, because in the big game, he throws 5 picks. And how do he's terrible in the big games. They lost to the New England 13-3. Yeah, that was great quarterbacking there. He's not good. That's why the Rams traded him for Stafford, because he's such a good quarterback. And so with no pressure, he looks okay. Remember a couple years ago, but the Lions were like 1-6, and then they got the easy schedule, and then the one game he lost would have put him in the playoffs to Carolina, and he loses. And then the next year they got easy schedule. The 2 games that are tough, Baltimore, he doesn't do anything, and Dallas, he doesn't do anything. And now this year he's got a bunch of hard games, and they'll be lucky to win 6 games, I think, because they can't beat good teams. The coach is not a good coach. Oh, let's go for, we could kick a field goal to tie up the game. Yeah, no, let's not do that. Let's go for it on 4th and 2 against the 49ers. What's wrong with the coach? Is he on drugs? What is that? You're seriously going against the 49ers or Dallas or Kansas City or Baltimore on 4th down. Are you out of your mind? The odds in you getting that are 0 and 0. That ain't going to happen. Shake my head. He has literally killed my whole teaser in a matter of about 30 seconds. I never forgave Stafford for that. True, he sucks. That's why we bet on Joe Burrow and Mahomes. Luis Ortiz pitching for the Bucks tonight. He's been good. Well, that's why I took it under. And I think whoever they're playing, their pitcher's pretty good too. So, 2 good ERAs, so I'm going under. And Pitt doesn't have Clemente or Stargell, so I don't think they'll be hitting the ball too much. I didn't realize Clemente was on the 1960 team that Mazeroski hit the home run. I got some of his cards from the 1950s. It was weird. I'd go to the card shows and I'm looking for old cards, Mantle and Mays and Aaron, and then everybody seemed to have Koufax and Clemente, and I was able to buy them really cheap. So goody for me. But these are really good looking cards. I'll pull some out, some old ones. That reminds me, Professor, I got screwed by the sportsbook last night. I took the Bears money line and they were up when the game got canceled out of nowhere. The money went to my account and then suddenly out. My SP balance went up as a win, then went to a no contest and became a push because the game has to be a completed game. So I think you had the under 38 or something also. The game it's not played because it has to play, I think, until the 2-minute warning of the 4th quarter for it to be an official game. So if it rains out like this bullshit, all the bets are off unless you bet like a first half or by quarter or something. The game gets canceled. It's no bet. Yeah, it's insane. So yeah, that's what happened to you. We should meet in Pittsburgh for a game and have Bobby get us into a luxury box. Well, yeah, if Bobby knows anybody that can get us in a luxury box. Yeah, that sounds good. I am OT in the greatest teams with the Pirates these days, Luke. I am out in the greatest teams. I can't figure that one out, Bobby, but I'll take your word on it. Well, the greatest team was that one in the World Series. What was it, 71 or 2, where they were down 3-1 to Baltimore, and they won 4-3. That was, to me, the greatest team because I made a fortune. No, I think it was in 78 or 9. I was working at Farmer Jack's, and one of the guys, I'd give him football tips. I gave the whole company football tips. We'd all be running to the phone on Saturday afternoons. Well, what's Clemson doing? What's Nebraska doing? And so he bets the baseball game, and Baltimore's up 3-1. And his logic was reversed. Well, they've got to win one because nobody who's ever been up 3-1 will lose. They always win the series. So he says, well, I'll just keep betting Baltimore. Eventually they'll win. So game 1, I got Pitt. And when you're the bookie, you get a plus 160, right? So Baltimore's favored minus 120, but whatever. And you get plus with the Pirates. The Pirates win game 5. He comes back. I'll take Baltimore again. I said, okay. I win that one. Game 6. He comes back for game 7. I nail him 3 in a row. It was beautiful. That's how you bet a streak. You don't bet the if come. Well, I'm going to keep betting Baltimore. First of all, you got to bet the pitcher. And secondly, if Clemente and Stargell got hot, or Clemente wasn't there, I think Dave Parker and Stargell and Manny Sanguillen, and they had a good second baseman, shortstop. I mean, you bet the pitcher. You don't, oh, it's 3-1. Automatically they're going to go and win the series. And no. Ask the Yankees how Boston came back from 3 down. I am out in the whatever. He says he's not. I am not in on the greatest teams with the. Okay. Whatever. You can read Bobby's handwriting, then good for you. And the Mets are a bit bothered with me as well, since I asked them to pay me in gold and silver. Well, why would that bother the Mets? They should be more bothered that they were Madoff. The owner of the Mets, Katz, and the other guy were Madoff. They were in the Madoff scam. So that's what I'd be more upset at, would be him. They'd want you to throw out the first pitch. Would be very easy for you, I would assume. Yeah. So I was watching one of those old World Series on YouTube, the half hours, and Joe DiMaggio kept throwing out the first pitch for the Yankees, and they were in it like all the time. Yeah, it was like 63 or 64. So it's Koufax against Mantle. Joe DiMaggio's there. It's like, wow. And now we have who? Who's our best player? Otani or whatever. Like Mantle, DiMaggio, Sandy Koufax, and Otani. Yeah, okay. You can't hold their bags of Shotani. What was this thing with Shotani fucking around with losing all this money betting and blamed his interpreter, who's apparently tried to make it sound like he stole all the money? I never did get to the bottom of that. I didn't care. Don't tell me, Bobby, you have a guy, you have an assistant. Believe me, you know where every penny is. You're not trusting this guy. Oh, yeah, no problem. Just you hold my money. Whatever happens, happens. That's bullshit. By the way, I'm having some dark chocolate right now. What, 80, 85, 90? Yeah, the cocoa is fabulous. I recently got some more honey. I hadn't been eating honey for a while, and so you just like one squeeze into your tea or coffee or into your water. It doesn't matter. But I've been getting too many chocolate cravings. So I'm trying to, I stopped the dark chocolate for a while, because when I run out of chocolate bars, I then want a chocolate cake or a donut or something. So I'm trying to get away from that. 85% cocoa. Lint's good. Yeah, 85 is good. I've been getting 90. Then I get the Sam's at Walmart because it's $2 a bar instead of $3.50 a bar. And it's Swiss chocolate. It's dark, so it's fine with me. Goes great with everything. Yeah, black chocolate or black coffee. It's a good thing, like if you're hungry at 9 o'clock at night, you grab a square and it's perfect. And it's really not ruining it unless you're fasting. I did a 47-hour fast last weekend. And yeah, I should have done 66, but I did 47. That was good. And I got vertigo. If you ever get vertigo, there's something that comes out and gets in your ear canal. And when you get up, the room's moving like you're drunk. And when you go to bed and you lie down and you look up and the room's moving. So it fucks with your ear canal. There's an exercise that gets rid of it. You kind of put your head back. You're on your knees, and then you put your head between your knees, and then you go on the side where it is, and it moves the particle back out of your ear canal, and it worked. So I had it for 2 or 3 days. I got it, I think, from my neck. I was lying funny on my couch, and but the whole room's, it's really weird. You're spinning around. You're okay walking, but when you kind of lie down to go to sleep, the room's like moving like The Exorcist or something, but that's how it got rid. So there was an exercise that did get rid of it, which I was, YouTube has everything. So then I got, what was the other thing I got? Oh, my ears, like I can hear my heartbeat in my ear when I go to sleep. So I go to sleep and I'm hearing boom, 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 I'm hearing my heart, but it was really loud. I couldn't get to sleep. But that was the day I was fasting. And then the next day I ate because I fasted until dinner, and then it kind of went away. So once in a while I hear a little bit of my heartbeat in my ear, and I don't know what the fuck that is. But it's pretty much gone now. I think it was probably high blood pressure waiting to hear from the jobs and everything. So the news on the trust is, my mom died, so there's an estate and a trust. The estate is like her expenses for at the nursing home, and then to pay off the trustees and the attorneys. So that was 20,000, and there was 4 people on it or something. I don't know. So I go to the attorney. Well, how much am I getting in a ballpark for my mom's dying? She says, well, I really can't tell you. I don't really know. Maybe she can't tell me. So I find out there's 8 people that it's being split upon, but it hasn't been decided. You got 2 life insurances, my mom and my stepdad. He sold his plumbing business, and they sold their house. So there's a big chunk of change out there, I think. So I go to the attorney. I said, so it's 20,000 divided by 4. I'll get $5,000. Okay. I was expecting more, but she says, no, that 20 grand gets added to the trust, which is much higher. And it's divided by 8, not 4. Okay. Now I got a brother and sister, and my stepfather had 3 kids, is 6. How the hell do we get to 8? Who's on there that, well, you're including spouses, but you're not, then it would be more. So I don't know what they're including. I don't know. There's 2 extras. There should only be 6, but anyway, there's 8. So I should know that in the fall. So like October. So hopefully I get the job, gold going to the moon, the trust, and then football starting. So we'll turn it all around. And then who knows when I'm meeting Daria. Yeah, I think it will. I think it'll be Christmas, November, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I keep saying, do you want to meet? And she says, yeah, I want to meet you. Well, then what's the problem? I don't get it. Let me fly into St. Pete. I'll meet you there. What's the problem? She doesn't want me to fly into St. Pete. She wants to vacation with me in Serbia. Okay. I don't know what to do. I mean, so I'll go meet Jenna, and she's going to Prague. You ever been to Prague, Luke? So her and her girlfriend in Berlin want to go to Prague. And I told her, well, there's a lot of hot girls in Prague. So why don't you go find us one? That would be, from what I see, the Czech girls are even hotter than the German girls. Let's see. It goes great with black coffee. Do I drink coffee at night? Yes, once in a while. I'm really hungry, and it'll be like 9 o'clock, 9:30, and there's nothing wrong with having coffee. And so, yeah, I'll make a coffee just because I'm hungry. Anyway, yes. So you're getting around 2,500. No, I'm not getting 2,500. I'm getting much more, I believe. I thought I was getting 5,000, and then the attorney said, no, that's just the estate. It flows into the trust, and the trust much more. So like I said, with the 2 life insurances, and my stepfather was a plumbing contractor, sold his business, and then my mom sold the house and moved into the old folks home. So with that said, it'll be much higher than that. So I might be able to buy 2 ounces of gold. So that's the first place when I get the check, it's to the bank to cash it, and to the gold store to turn it into gold. Like Lucky Charms, my bag of gold. Well, that's the thing. And, I'd like to get the job just because I haven't worked since September. It's crazy. I have all these interviews and nobody wants to hire me because they're afraid of the last couple of jobs where they were short term, 6 months. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you, but Harley was supposed to be a year. When you met me, Luke, I was starting Harley in May, it's supposed to go for a year, and they cut it off in September because they ran out of budget. So they're looking at it like, well, like the guy asked me today, well, do you want to just work summers or work summers and then go to Florida in the winter? I go, no, it's supposed to be a year contract that got shortened, and I'm looking for work that I can't get because I'm not going to work at the grocery store again. I did that when I was 16. I worked at Farmer Jack's for 9 years. I worked at Farmer Jack's. And I loved it. We just had fun there. Yeah, we would switch grocery bags. This is classic. So my buddy was at the next restaurant. I'm at register 7. He's at register 8. And I'm ringing her thing up and I'm throwing him like salad dressing. That's this lady's. And he's putting it in the other lady's. And then he's throwing me like toilet paper. So when they get home, they're not getting their groceries. It was so funny, but this is what we did. We're just switching items. That was hysterical. Never been to Prague. Well, Jen is going next week. Now I'm free because I've been waiting for Daria because I hadn't met her in person. Just WhatsApp and on the internet. So again, but I don't think she wants to delay this, but she needs the mother to watch the daughter, and she's having problems with the mother getting back to watch the daughter. What do I do? So, I said I can fly into St. Pete, get us a hotel. We'll spend a week there. And if you need to go home, we'll do that, or bring your daughter and whatever, or go to Serbia. I mean, the daughter's 14. Does she really need to be babysat? I don't know. So who knows? In Russia, it's very strict there, apparently. So I'm like, well, yeah, we can wait, but I'm not getting any younger, and I want to meet you already. This is crazy, because we were going to meet just before the war, and then the war breaks out, and we can't meet for like 2 years, and then finally they opened up where I could go to Russia, but we want a vacation, so it was either Turkey or Serbia. So I have a friend who I swim with, and he said, no, Serbia is really nice. He has a house there. I'm like, okay. And I looked at it. You go on YouTube, and 10 best things to see in Serbia, and it looked really nice, and it's cheap. And I'm like, yeah. This might be nice. So anyway, trying to figure out when to meet her is ridiculous. This is why I got Jenna as a backup. So I'll meet Jenna, and she's excited to meet. So we will see. So depending on the job, well, I can turn the job and say I got a vacation plan. I'll start right after. No, they won't care. They've waited this long without me. They won't care. Let's go metals. Yep. Well, October, Bobby. When BRICS goes gold back, then they're going to have to raise the price. Why are we pricing gold when we don't have any? What's in your Fort Knox from Die Hard 3? What in your Fort Knox is gold that is not ours. It's China's gold. So we've sold the gold to China, but we keep it in Fort Knox. And that's what's happening. And so, yeah, we have it, but it's not ours. So therefore, why are we pricing gold when Russia and China have all of it? That's really the problem. So they want to price their own gold, right? China's like, I got 60,000 tons of gold. I think I'll price it myself. A lot of it's in these shadow banks, and the people have it. As you see, China's blowing themselves up. Housing market, banking market, riots, things blown up today. China's really fucked. So I don't know what they're waiting. So they They need the gold back currency to save them. Japan's gone, as I showed you. Germany is on their way out, and Italy's on their way out. England's on their way out, and Canada's on their way out. So our buddy, remember our buddy Bobby, who wanted to buy a $700,000 house in Quebec, and he wanted to put $400,000 down. And I yelled at him because you could have bought $400,000 worth of gold, and you're putting it into a fucking house. And he kind of was smart aleck. And now who has the last laugh? We do. Because his 400,000 in gold would have been, he'd be worth like $100 million. But his $700,000 house is probably worth like 200,000. There's no, it's all done, and Canada's collapsed. So that's that. I think you talk to Bobby and me more than your girls. I talk to Jenna a lot, but, I see the time difference, and then I text them. So I text them every day. Jenna, I talk to more because she's not working. Daria's working, and she doesn't speak English very good. So it's hard to talk to Daria as much. But Jenna, I can talk to, and she understands. So when I'm together with Jenna, in Barcelona, and we have no problem talking and going to dinner and going shopping and walking around, going to the beach. So we have no problem. But Daria, part of the reason she might be a little bit afraid is she doesn't speak English that well. And I said, well, we'll just text on WhatsApp. Even in the room, we'll text. Or I'll just say, let's go eat, or let's go shower. Let's just go for a walk, or, get my swimsuit out there. Let's go swimming. So I'll get us a hotel with a pool so she can relax out there. But, again, she did the same bullshit, right? I didn't hear from her since last Friday. And I says, what the fuck are you? Where are you that you can't take 5 minutes to text me? And she, oh, I love you. I'm with you. She's, oh, I'm sorry. And I go, stop doing that. Just, what are you thinking about? For 5 days, I'm texting you and you're not even they don't turn blue on WhatsApp. So, this is the craziness I have with Daria that I just don't understand. I'm like, are you married? Do you have, is there a boyfriend you're with? No. I hate Russian men. I go, then what are you thinking that you don't read my text? Who does that? How do you not read the text? I text Jenna. I wake up, I get a text from Jenna all the time, every day. I'm in Poland now. I'm in Berlin now. I'm on the bus. So I get her the whole way, but I don't with Daria. So she's working, and I get it. But go to the bathroom and text me, eat lunch and text me, like, Jesus Christ. Bobby should meet us at Capitol Grill anytime, anywhere. Oh, exactly. But prefer PNC Bank for a game. Oh, PNC Park for a game. That's what, Pittsburgh? I love how they named them after Comerica, and all the banks are collapsing. So that's the next problem, is the banks collapsing. But anyway, we're getting there. Here we're in August. We're at the home stretch. September, I guess there's a meeting in Shanghai about BRICS and the gold-backed currency, and I guess they'll roll it out in October. And look out. And that's why they keep the war with Russia, and they're threatening war with China. But China can't go to war. They don't have money. Their military is shot. They don't have it. It's collapsed. But they got 60,000 tons of gold. So I bet they take the gold from their citizens. That would be my first thought. And I guess they're just waiting for the gold-backed currency to hit in October, and then they'll switch over to that. So I don't think they're ready to switch yet in July, that they are getting crushed. But that's where they're at. Anyway, hopefully we I just hope preseason football isn't a bunch of fourth stringers playing, and who would go to the game, who would watch the game, and what's the point of the games? Isn't the point like? But if we're smart, I heard Philadelphia is going to play their players because they were so pissed about the way they ended. And then I know Baltimore plays their players. And I know Mahomes and Kelsey play. At least they did last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow's out there. But Caleb, he's got all that experience. Oh, wait, no, he's never played in the NFL, has he? He's going to be a bust. I love it. And everybody, he'll be great. Just like Comex. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why the gold price is up or down. Well, because it's Comex. It's derivatives. Some people are so stupid. Would you prefer PNC Park for a game? I prefer Capitol Grill than PNC Park, but I don't care. It's jump on a plane and go to Pittsburgh. That's fine. Or I can go to Barcelona. Well, no, that was Philadelphia. Yeah, I don't care. Wherever, it'd be fun. But I don't know. Feel bad for Darius. He's got all these problems. But anyway, I got to be there for her. That's why I do what I do. All right, so 3 hours, 6:30. Tomorrow I'll be on at 11. It's a football weekend anyway. Well, no, not this weekend, but we'll do our baseball. And that's about it. What else? So we're waiting on Bricks. This Kamala Harris, oh my God. Trump doesn't want to tax the rich. I'm going to be president by talking that Trump doesn't want to tax the rich. And if you knew anything about economics, that's the best thing he could do is not tax the rich if you want to get out of this depression we're in. Because the rich can spend their money and build, have a business and then hire everybody far easier than we can. And then it creates jobs. So you want Elon Musk, you don't want to tax him. You want him building companies and all these rich guys. That's what you want. You don't want them to be taxed because what does the government do with the money? They put it towards the debt and the military. Well, what good is that? Neither of them generate revenue. And that's the problem with the government. We need a different form of government. We need a government that's like a football team. So we need like that president of the country, but he's not president, like the president of Ford, where he then goes and hires the coach based on his credibility. Oh, he's a good football coach. Well, that never happens here, but we're like the Steelers with Art Rooney, right? He's the owner. So we need an owner of the U.S., and then he hires the president, the treasurer, and all these people. That's what we need because you want Kamala Harris as your president? Really? Fuck, I'd move to Russia in 5 minutes. And then we want Trump as our president? You know what? You're fired. I can't see either of these idiots running. They forget running the country. They're a bunch of idiots. So I mean, the whole process is broken. There won't even be a fair election. George Soros will just, whoever he wants to win will win. If you think this election is fair, you're out of your mind. So that's what I worry about. If I was Trump, like I said, I'd make sure I had a fair election, that every vote was counted, and that's it. Anyway, I think that's it. Go buy your gold and silver. Just keep buying it and buying it and buying it because you got to get out of the dollar. I keep hearing these guys, well, the dollar's fine. It'll never collapse. Yeah, I'm sure the Romans said that too, and the Spanish and the French and the English. They all said, not a problem. We're fine. Yeah, okay. How'd that work out for you guys? So they don't want to look at it. That's their problem. But anyway, I think that's about it. Maybe go to the lake if it's sunny out, just to walk and relax. All right. Well, have a good night. See you tomorrow at 11. www.teaserking.com. My goal should be coming Monday. 1 more ounce. Isn't it exciting when you get it? And you know it's like worth 20 grand and you only paid 2450 or 2500 for it. That's the best part. I might go to the gold store tomorrow. See, if I get the job, I can go. Or if I got my trust money, I can go. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm like that. I'll wait till, okay, I got the trust, or the gold shot up. I don't want the gold to shoot up. I want to buy more. Or I get the job and then, okay, now I can go buy a few more ounces. Yeah, there's also 1/10, but absolutely. I mean, I've got quarter ounces. I've got 24 of them. 1/10 of an ounce, I got like 22. Half ounces, I got 8. And then ounces, I got like 40 or whatever. And I know what you're saying. It makes sense to buy the 1 ounce because the others, but do you always want to, when it comes time to sell, if you do sell, you don't want to necessarily sell your ounces. Quarter ounce will do fine. So that's my thought on it. But if I get this job, then I'm fine. Then it's buy more and I don't need to worry about selling it. And then it's, and then it's buy more gold and silver. So that's a good idea, Luke. Don't you have a store around you that you can just go in? See, I got a jewelry store a couple miles away, and I go in, and he's got his dollars, he's got his price list, he's got his silver. And usually I'll buy like a quarter ounce is about $6.70. And I normally I buy the Maple Leafs because they're $20, $30 cheaper than the Eagle. And at the end of the day, an ounce of gold's an ounce of gold. I don't give a shit. So if I got to go to Switzerland to sell it, they won't care if it's an Eagle or that. In the U.S., the Eagle has more value. They'll give you a little bit more for it because it's more popular, more in demand. I like Trump best. I've seen in my life. I like Trump best I've seen in my life. Reagan's the best we've had, but he did the tax cuts, reduced the regulations. He was the best because he didn't inflate and everything else. But Trump is kind of, I don't like the tariffs. He didn't learn from 1921, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, which caused the stock market to crash. So I'm not crazy about protectionism, which means, well, we'll tariff you. So now, it's cheaper to buy U.S. steel than the other. But the problem he's doing is what's best for Austrian economists and the economy is to buy the cheapest steel. And the steel coming from China and Japan was $100 cheaper than the U.S. steel. So it made perfect sense to buy their steel because it was cheaper. But now what happens is you put the tariff on it, the price goes up, not on the U.S., but now everybody's paying $100 more for steel because we couldn't compete with China and Japan. Now it's all the same, but wait a minute, the consumer lost the $100 benefit. So that's the problem with protectionism and the problem with the tariffs. So I don't like that. That's a red flag there. Otherwise, I don't know. He seems tough, like he won't get bought in, like he doesn't need the money, so he won't be like, won't be a swamp creature, but he inflated pretty good too his first term. I'm not sure a lot will be different because the Congress spends, not the president. Very little he can do. He can do good foreign, like he can end the Ukraine war and tell the defense contractors to go fuck off. He can do that. But yeah, I mean, it's better than Kamala Harris. But we all want to be communists. We're going to know the Tsar, and we'll have to Stalin will be the leader. They'll bring him up from the grave. So it's tough. I mean, you don't really know what to do with that. You try to. It's such a bad fit because the president really doesn't run that much. He's a figurehead. He doesn't control the spend of the money, which he should. So it's very difficult. So I'm not. He's better than Kamala Harris. Let's put it that way. But I still don't like him. I don't. As a person, maybe. As a president, yeah, he'd be strong. I tell you, I like Putin better than anybody because at least I know where I stand with Putin. He ain't gonna let any shit happen to the Russian citizens, and he's gonna be strong. And when it happens, he immediately gets the FSB on him. Like the bombers from the Ukraine who came in and bombed them all, they couldn't even get to the border. He had them detained and in prison. That's the kind of leader I want, not these idiots. Oh, well, yeah, we got a lot coming through the border. You know how many people go through the border in Russia? 0. Right? Hey, Greg and John, you missed Bobby Bow. He's been here and gone. Where have you been all day? So anyway, that's about it. So I'm off. See you tomorrow about 11, and good luck and enjoy the night. www.teaserking.com.